Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Mythkeepers. We're your hosts. I am Scott, and joining me as always, he's gonna have to get out the measuring stick when he gets home. It's Zachy, wacky boy. How are you doing today?
That is a small measuring stick that I keep on hand for special occasions.
The part that I left out was that he has to get out the measuring stick and the microscope, to find the smallest measurements available.
Yeah.
How are you doing today, pal?
You know what, man? I'm doing good. I'm 2 rum and cokes in.
Hell yeah,
and I'm feeling great.
You're
and I got my ass beat in fucking trivia.
Yeah, you should have used the 2
5 minutes ago.
rum and cokes excuse as to why you got beat. Honestly,
I'm using it now.
Okay, fair enough.
Thanks for the idea. Thanks for the rec.
You're just late on your excuses. That's great. Yeah, chat. If you want to know what we're talking about, we did a fun, cheeky trivia fight game where I absolutely smoked Zach 2-0 in the best of 3.
I let him win.
Definitely had nothing to do with my second quiz that I got. But if you want to know about that and what we're talking about, you should go join the Patreon, because that is exclusive content for our best and favoritist people. That is patreon.com/mythkeepers. But you know what? If you can't join the Patreon, you just want to support us by listening and maybe telling a friend, we appreciate you too. We still like you.
We do still kind of like you. You guys are all right.
You're okay.
But speaking of the Patreon, we do have some very special thank yous.
Hell yeah.
To dish out some shout outs for our patrons, our myth creepers, if you will. We want to say thank you so much for your support to Allie, Andrea, Dom, Emma, Hannah, Jen, Jenna, Jordan, Kristen, Nathan, Nico, Sarah, Sydney, Terrence, and Chaz. Thank you guys for supporting the show. We appreciate you guys so much. And if you guys would like to join that list of shout-outs and patrons, like Scotty said, you can find that at patreon.com/mythkeepers.
Hell yeah. Any other housekeeping we need to do before we jump in here, buddy boy?
No, we're talking about A Court of Mist and Fury.
That is what it says on the
chapters
screen.
39 through 43. Yeah, that is what it says. But hey, listen, don't be an asshole
only.
because
True.
there are listeners instead of viewers.
You know what? My bad. I apologize.
So we got to respect them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if this is your first time here, welcome. Scotty and I have never read any type of romantasy like this, I guess. We've read fantasy that has maybe some romance in it, but never like this.
And it's gonna get hot and spicy today, boy.
Never like one of these chapters, because that was a good time. Yeah, that was fun. We're gonna talk about this thing, and I might have to take a break today from getting hot and heavy.
Yeah, you'll be fine. That rum will do its job. You won't get too hot and heavy because of that.
That's true. All right, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I should also say for our reoccurring listeners and viewers, I've tried a new note-taking format where I'm taking notes directly in the book.
Zach has done nothing but talk to me about this for the last 2 hours.
I am worried about it.
He's obviously very concerned.
Typically my notes are in Microsoft OneNote, and I've got them sectioned by chapter, bullet points, things I want to talk about, thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now I'm just taking the physical book and highlighting the stuff I want to talk about and making little quick notes on the side. So it's way harder for me to see the big picture. So I hope this doesn't fuck me, but it probably
is. To be honest,
is.
The way you didn't describe what you had done, you just kind of kept saying, I did a different note-taking type, Scott, and I don't know how it's going to work. As opposed to most times when you're usually just in the middle of the podcast and you're like, Scott, you're probably going to have to talk about this. I didn't have great notes on this. So contrary to your usual form, which is not great notes, I think you'll be fine, pal. I think you'll be totally fine. Honestly, the way you're doing it sounds great. That sounds easy. I'm here on my 2 fucking monitors set up, and I have the book on one screen. I like take notes on the other screen, and I'm doing all this bullshit and shenanigans. And it takes forever.
You read in your office setup?
Yes.
Oh, gross.
It's awful.
Dude.
That's what I'm telling you. Yeah, it's not good. Actually, I have the physical book in the other room, and I would love to read it that way. It's not conducive to the note taking. So honestly, I'm a little jealous right now of the way you're talking about taking notes, and maybe I'll try it. Maybe we'll switch. Maybe you try it my way and I'll try it your way.
Nah, probably not. That sounds miserable. All right, let's talk about this fucking
Where
thing.
we last left off at the end of chapter 38, she had forgotten her galoshes and was trying to wade through some darkness, and he was having nightmares, and
looking really hot,
looking
on
so
that
hot
bed
and so
with
naked,
his wings.
which was that was Feyre's main takeaway, was how naked he was. So to start chapter 39, Feyre takes our girl Amryn some nice hot lamb's blood.
And she loves that shit.
She is into that lamb's blood. Amryn kind of has like just a sick open concept apartment going on. She like has the whole 3rd floor looking out onto the river. I like Amryn's vibe, her style. She just, it just seems chill and relaxed. She's a bit messy, it sounds like. But she's just on the floor reading a book and drinking some lamb's blood. And I'm just like, I fucking love you, Amryn.
It's so like, honestly, cool. Amryn, same. That's what I'm doing too. I'm just laying on the floor drinking some lamb's blood. Reading my book.
Fan of Amryn. She's saying
Feyre does. Oh, sorry.
No. I was just saying Amryn is relearning the language since she hasn't used it in so long.
Yes, and she's also a little unsure of how long it's going to take, because she's not just diving straight into this book of breathing, volume 2, the remix,
part 1 of 2. Yeah. the remix, part 2.
She is trying to become fluent in her language again through other studies, I guess. First.
Well, I thought she said she couldn't read any of this part 1 until the second part was with it, or something like that. I think she said it was like useless without the other half. So I don't know. Maybe she's just trying to relearn her language when they do get the second half.
But yeah, I mean, cool. Like she's got a task, she's doing the task, and she's also being messy and cute and cool about it. And I fucking like Amryn.
We're big Amryn stans here, always and forever.
So Feyre does have a cheeky little chat with our favorite bat boy Shadow Daddy.
Yeah, they're just texting, but with more steps.
Yeah, I think we may have talked about this in one of the last episodes. It's just straight up texting.
It's just texting.
But in fantasy font. You know what I mean? The font is just fantasy.
You have to make it fancier. They have to use quill and ink because it's fantasy. But
it's like a magic, it disappears
it's
and
magic,
then it reappears.
But it's just texting.
Except, does she have her read receipts on? Does he know when she reads it?
I think she, with the way his magic...
You think he gets mad when she leaves him on red?
Yes, absolutely. With the way the magic works, absolutely he has read receipts turned on and she doesn't know. She doesn't realize. Actually, there's a very funny...
Can she react? Can she leave an emoji react?
Sure, if she knows how to draw an emoji. This is just proving to me once again that technology is superior to magic. Writing it out and like waiting for him to magic it out of there is a pain in the ass.
What if she gets really hot and heavy over something he sends and she wants to screenshot it?
Yeah, exactly.
How does that work? She wants to screenshot it and save it for later.
She would have to, rather than sending him like a nude, she would have to just draw.
Transcribe it.
No, she would just have to draw like a picture. This is what I look like naked. Rather than just snap, doing, I don't know, duck face. Do kids still do duck face?
Okay, but then when she sends a nude, can she leave it to where like he can't save it?
No.
Does it disappear after 10 seconds?
It's saved. It's saved in his spank bank for sure. It's saved regardless as soon as he sees it.
That's fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
So she wants to know, what do the tattooed stars and mountains on your knees mean?
I love you looking
And he's
down
so
at your
cringe.
book, by the way.
Yeah. Just got my notes.
She wants to know, what do the
Let me
tattoos
just,
mean? So funny.
And he says, it's so corny,
Dude,
and I had to highlight
this
it
is the
because it's so
fucking.
corny.
I can't stand this guy right now.
He goes that I can't. He says that I will bow before no one and nothing but my crown.
What
I'm
does
like,
this
yeah.
even mean?
I don't fucking
So
know.
his
Look, dude,
butt,
he's
my
hot. He can get
crown?
away with saying shit like that.
What does that last part mean? So he is
I
going
think
to bow
his
to his crown?
His crown is like, it signifies like his duty to his people, like his role as like the protector of his people.
Okay, fair enough. This is somehow only like the 6th funniest line in this section. But like
Yeah.
There are several lines. Zach, I'm pretty sure I have like a couple lines I literally had to highlight and change the color of because I'm like, oh, this one needs to stand out. This line right here.
Yes.
We'll get to that though. Stay tuned.
And she aptly is like, you're so dramatic.
Yeah.
She tells him,
True.
you're dramatic.
True, Feyre.
And he goes,
he just laughs.
oh wait, hold on. Yeah, he just laughs. Then I have this stuff. You already talked about this. I have this stuff about Amryn, like with the blood.
Oh, sick.
I do like how Feyre like unscrews the cap to the blood jar thing, and Amryn is like, oh shit.
She
Hey, I
activates,
fucking like
dude.
you. Yeah, dude.
She literally is like absorbed in her book, and then she smells blood and is like, oh, fuck. It's on now.
And in case anybody wanted to know what human blood tastes like, it's watery and often tastes like what they last ate.
Yeah, not a fan of human blood, Cameron says.
Yeah.
That does sound disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, humans suck, so.
True. You know how like if you get a cut, or you get a boo-boo, and you like suck the blood off of your hand or whatever? It didn't ever tasted that bad to me. Doesn't taste like much, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I had to survive on that, I could.
Yeah. Or if you get like a cut in your mouth and you taste blood, it's like, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah,
Scott's
it's fine.
stance on human blood, it's fine.
You think we're put on a list after that?
Probably. A list of suspected vampires, maybe.
Yeah, suspected cannibals.
Yeah,
all right.
So Rhys, Feyre asks Amryn if Rhys has convinced her not to destroy Adriata because of the blood ruby. She sees the blood ruby sitting there
as a paperweight.
Amryn
because Amryn's a badass.
Amryn just rules. And Amryn's like, he did no such thing. That convinced me not to destroy Adriata. And she points to this giant diamond necklace that Feyre recognizes from Grand Moff Tarkin's vaults. And she's like, how the hell did you get this? Did Tarkin send this to you? And she's like, no, it was Varian, who...
Varian sent it with a dick pic, basically, is what happened.
Yes, but it's crudely drawn, and Varian is a terrible drawer. So it's more just like a stick figure with a line coming out.
With a fucking dong, dude.
Yeah, Varian is the guy that was like on guard duty against her, I think, when they were in the summer court.
Yeah.
And
they were playing man to man, like man defense, and he was her guard.
Yeah, man defense for sure. So Feyre was like, did you and Varian like do the thing when you were there? And Amryn says, tempting, but no, the prick can't decide if he hates me or wants me. And Feyre responds with, why can't it be both? And
truly,
Amryn
by
is
the way,
just
valid.
Like, indeed. And I'm like, I fucking love Amryn so much.
Yeah.
She wants to hate fucking.
You pointed out to me in, maybe it was last episode or the episode before that, how some of the stuff is like, it's easy for you and I to get wrapped up in like, ooh, haha, like this is cute or funny or like, but then when you think about the fact that these beings are like
That's what I'm saying.
800,000 years old.
Yeah.
It is a little strange.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's a little strange at times. But Amren gets a pass because she's just that cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anyway.
Then it's more training time, right?
Yes.
Unless you had something before that.
Well, training time, but I have a note here that it sounds like, so yeah, Cassian comes back from the human realm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
And Feyre has a thought. She says, I assumed seeing Nesta went about as poorly as could be imagined because my lesson the following morning was longer and harder than it had been in previous days. Basically, fucking Cassian was in a shit mood because Nesta probably put some heels on and like walked on his balls.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because that's what she does.
Yeah.
Which Nesta fucking rules. So that's
True.
That's very funny.
Yeah, Feyre even asked, I asked what exactly Nesta had said to him to get under his skin so easily, but Cassian only snarled and told me to mind my own business and that my family was full of bossy, know-it-all females. Part of me had wondered if Cassian and Varian might need to compare notes, which is also funny. Amren out here has Varian whipped and Nesta already has Cassian whipped. Very good stuff.
Hey, did you happen to take note that Feyre has been working on her powers and studying up on all the different powers of all the different
You know what, Zach? I did take note of that. I knew, you would, but I was like, that's interesting because also she's just full on, we joked about her going in the hyperbolic time chamber before, but now she's just full on anime training arc now.
It's just a training montage right now. Yeah. Like straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rurouni Kenshin would be proud.
She gets Cassian in the morning and Rhys in the afternoon.
Can I sign up for that too?
I was like, I'll wait for him to finish drinking so he can make a cheeky joke about this.
Fuck you.
She can use flame, water, ice, and darkness. She just needs to learn a heart and she'll be able to summon Captain Planet, I'm pretty sure. But she hasn't been able to winnow since that one time, which that one time was maybe my least favorite chapter in this whole book. That was the weirdest fucking chapter ever.
It was pretty strange.
And also, I can't remember if it was here or some other time, she's like, I still don't want to think about or talk to anyone about how I can summon talons sometimes and what that means.
Which is weird because, like, everybody knows what it means.
Well,
like, it's just... Like
I don't think anyone else has seen her do it yet, right?
You know what? I can't recall. If anybody else
but obviously
has seen it.
This is just a her and Rhys, it'd be weird if while they're in their flirty time that, hey, you want to see my ex-lover's powers right now?
Yeah, I guess that is a little strange.
Anyway.
It's like dating a girl that she has like a mold of her ex's like penis. Like saved as a dildo, I
was just gonna say like a tattoo of their name like on their body somewhere.
Yeah, or that.
But you
or
went
that.
with a mold of her ex's penis. That's what you went with.
Yeah, no, it could totally just be, like a picture on her fridge or something.
Is that a service? Because I feel like that's $1 million idea. It's just like, let's take a mold of someone's penis.
Oh, that's a thing, Scott.
Is it? Okay, of course it is. I should have known better. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a thing. For sure, it's a thing.
She has a mold of Tim's dick.
Yes, she's like, hey, that was some pretty good dick. So
definitely
I'm gonna...
exactly like that. Hey, yeah, the problem with them was never the fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Or maybe it was the problem. Too much fucking,
Yeah, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing.
Yeah,
so
true. But not.
I just find that I find that hard to believe.
True. Actually.
So I have some High Lord.
Yeah.
Info.
I had this specifically for one specific dude and his badass name, but you go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I have all of it. So, we learned that Baron, the cruel and vain High Lord of the Autumn Court.
So this is Lucian's dad, right?
Lucian's dad. I don't know if it's Callias or Callias.
Callias sounds good.
Callias sounds good. The quiet and cunning High Lord of Winter.
He sounds cool.
About Helion Spellcleaver?
Nah, Helion, come on.
Oh yeah, Helion Spellcleaver, the
cool.
High Lord of Day, whose 1,000 libraries had been personally looted by Amarantha, and whose clever people excelled at spell work and archived the knowledge of Prithian. This guy sounds fucking
Helion
sick.
Spellcleaver is definitely my favorite High Lord now. For sure.
Yeah, how do you have an epithet like fucking Spellcleaver and not be a fucking baller?
Also, he sounds just like a super cool like scholar mage. He's got 1,000 libraries and his people are really good at spell work. He sounds sick as fuck.
He sounds like fuck, man. What is the old mage's name in Feyre at the end?
Oh, Sari? Yeah.
No. The old man.
Learnin.
No, Denkin.
Oh, Dankin. Okay, sure. There's a lot of old mages. Turns out.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dankin. Hell yeah.
Dankin, dude. He's just Dankin. Dankin Spellcleaver.
Dankin.
That's such a good name.
That is a great name, and he sounds rad as hell. Wait, am I convinced there's a dawn court or a dusk court? Which one is there not actually that I'm convinced there is?
I don't recall.
I can't remember either. I think it's
one
dusk court. Until we find out about the dusk court's High Lord, this dude.
No, I think it's dawn. It's dawn.
No, I think there is a dawn one. Because I said, why wouldn't there be a twilight court? And you're like, well, there can't be a twilight court because twilight. I was like, okay, then name it the dusk court. I think it's dusk. Anyway.
Okay. Sure.
Until we find out about the dusk court's High Lord, the High Lord of Day is my new favorite High Lord.
Yeah, I mean, that's so sick.
Spellcleaver is
Helion Spellcleaver fucking rules.
Ooh, although Tarquin's pretty cool. No, sorry. I don't know anything about you, Helion.
I mean, Tarquin's a great character, but Helion, and especially like the not knowing anything about him except for the fact that he's basically just some old like mage is super cool.
Yeah. No,
so
true,
big fan of that. I like that guy.
Yeah, big time. So when
Rhys says,
go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, buddy. Rhys says, knowing who my power had come from was just as important as learning the nature of the power itself. So she's been studying up on these people. Yeah, that sounds so wise and cool.
Knowledge is power. That's what they say.
Knowledge is power.
When Rhys is busy, Feyre spends her time hanging out with Amren or shops with Moore. We find out Morgan, she be a spendy girl. She likes to go out and shop.
Dude, Morgan rules.
Morgan's the best.
By the way, I know we've established this.
We have established this.
But Morgan fucking rules.
Feyre thinks that Rhys is overpaying her. She looks at her bank account like once and she's like, holy shit. She also misses him when he's gone, but they still text, of course. They still magical text. And he asks her at one point about her painting. And she says that she can't do it anymore because that part of her is empty.
I have all of this highlighted.
Did you want to get any exact quotes from this?
I mean, I just liked it, so I highlighted it.
Okay, sure. This might be the flaw in your highlighting system.
Yeah. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Like, do you like the Rhys Feyre like romance? Like, are you liking their banter and like the way that they are with each other in general?
In general,
like, do you feel some type of way about the romance?
In general, it's fine. I don't honestly feel super strongly about it one way or the other, and that might be a problem. Like, I chuckle at it sometimes, and I think that was a cheeky line back from one of the two of them. But I don't feel super invested in them getting together, getting it on, or like when they fight.
Even after this batch, you don't feel that like.
No, because
like the building.
I have very mixed feelings about the characters themselves, especially one of the two characters.
Okay, sure.
Where I am questioning a lot of things. So that makes it a problem.
Can I? Okay, this might be a little early in our discussion here tonight, Scott, but I just need them to fuck so bad.
Well, yeah, I want that to happen too, but it's more of just like an exasperated get it over with already.
Fuck so bad. No, it's not a get it over with.
No.
It's like a please, it just needs to happen. I need it to happen for my sanity.
Speaking of Feyre again, do you remember that episode with Sign when he's complaining about Fern and Stark and he's just like, just start dating already?
Will you guys just please start dating?
That's
yes,
me
absolutely.
with Rhys and Feyre. I'm just like slamming my fist on the table being like, please just fuck already. Just do it.
Like, is this okay? This has got to be a common trope in like romantasy.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Or romance,
but,
like just like the building, because it's getting me, dude.
But
it's getting me bad.
I feel like the best ones, the ones that come to mind for me, which I'm basically just thinking about Kaguya-sama, is like I felt that way, but the journey itself and the getting there was so fun and so good and so well done that I also didn't mind.
I mean, yeah, but you're talking about a comedy versus this.
Yes, but it's also, I mean, it's plenty serious at times. Yes, there is the comedy aspect of it, the balance that I love.
But the stakes are high school, dude.
Yes, obviously.
Not the fate of the world.
You tell me these fuckers don't act like high schoolers?
I mean, no, but they don't act. They act like at least the world is about to end. You know?
Sometimes, yes. No, I guess it's just I think it comes back to my investment in them and their relationship is tempered because of the increasing problems I'm having with one Rhysand. And my qualms are becoming a little bit out of control, and outweighing the things I used to love about him. If to put all my cards on the table here,
I'm okay with just looking past that stuff because he's just so hot.
Obviously, yeah. And I hear he's very...
like, I don't understand how you're like not like, yo, this guy could fucking lay my ass down.
Yeah. He has the measuring stick to do it, I hear.
Yeah, his wingspan.
That wingspan. It's that crazy wingspan. Anyway, we can talk more about this in depth later because I don't want to put the cart before the horse. She asks him if he always wanted to be High Lord. And he says yes and no. The main thing is he had the ambition to do better than his father. It almost seems like, well, part of it was definitely like he felt like he had a responsibility.
Yes.
But also, like he said, there's a large part of this which is just like, hey, my dad kind of sucks. I could definitely do better, and I want to do better.
Yeah, so, I have the quote.
Okay. Yeah.
If you want to hear it. So he says, so she asked, "Did you always want to be High Lord?" He says, a lengthy pause. Again, yes and no. I saw how my father ruled and knew from a young age that I did not want to be like him. So I decided to be a different sort of High Lord. I wanted to protect my people, change the perceptions of the Illyrians, and eliminate the corruption that plagued the land. And then she says, for a moment, I hadn't been able to stop myself from comparing Tamlin. I like and dislike her constant comparison between Rhys and Tamlin.
Oh, someone else might dislike that too, actually.
Right,
funny you should say that.
Like it I like it because it's just so real, dude. Like,
yeah, of course.
Like for her,
of course she would make that comparison.
That's the only like true love that she's ever known.
Right.
So of course she's going to compare it, but it's obviously a very sensitive like space for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she compares this and it is just like so much different. So she says Tamlin resented being High Lord, and maybe that was a part of why the court had become what it was. Rhysand, though, had a vision with the will and desire and passion to do it. He'd actually built something. And like it's stuff like that does genuinely really like make me like Rhysand.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some like weird like in the moment like knee-jerk character responses that he has that I think are a little annoying.
Mm-hmm.
or maybe quite a bit annoying.
Mhm.
But generally speaking, like I do like this man quite a bit. Like aside, like the jokes about him being so hot and yada yada yada, like that stuff put aside. Like he does genuinely, truly care for his people, and this dude is like hell bent on like doing the right thing for them and like keeping them safe.
Mhm.
And I like that. He's just, I think, sometimes a little misguided in his like knee-jerk reactions.
I think he's maybe a lot misguided. But again, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay, all right.
Word finally comes that the queens are going to come. They're coming to Feyre's family estate tomorrow. So they leave that night. And they're at the estate. And the clock strikes midnight, or actually I think it's 11 or something like that. And they just pop in. Turns out the queens can winnow. And that is the big
interesting
ending of that chapter. Chapter 39, unless you had something else.
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So chapter 40 is basically this meeting between 6 queens. Is that how many it is? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. There.
I quite like this chapter.
This is a good chapter. This is probably my favorite of the bunch.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I think.
Oh, well, I know which one's going to be your favorite of the
bunch. the Night Court is definitely the nightmare, whatever the fuck that place is called.
So
is definitely my favorite. But
I don't know if you felt this way, and you haven't had as many interactions with them yet. But these reminded me so much. These are just like the female versions of like the 5 Elder Stars from One Piece.
I don't even know what that terminology is.
Okay. Well, you've met them several times, not like a ton, but you know them.
The Elder Stars, like just like the, what are they called? Like
they're
the
5
annoying, like
they're the 5 old men that are in the room at Mary Zhao that you see on occasion. They like they run the
part
world.
of the Navy.
No, they're way above the Navy. The Navy works for them.
Oh,
they're literally like the rulers of the world.
Have I really seen them?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. You know what? I think I might need to start One Piece over.
It's fine.
I haven't.
You're going to start it over? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm just going to start all over.
I think that's fine. We'll start the podcast.
I feel like I'd love that.
One Piece podcast over as well. Yeah, but apparently there's 6 of them. Also, one was unwell and could not come. This is something weird here.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't throw
Sure.
this information out there without there being more to it, I feel like. Let's see. What do I have next here? Oh, introductions are taking place, and Rhys introduces his cousin, Morrigan.
Ugh. Dude, Morrigan.
Morrigan is looking hot as hell, also, by the way. It has been a long time since I met with the Mortal Queen. And she, bows to them and everything. And all the queens are like freaking out. They're like Morrigan.
They're like
the Morrigan from the war.
Morrigan?
They all paused as if in surprise and a bit of awe and fear. And I'm like, hell yeah. Let's get my girl Morrigan over some more.
Like the like hype behind more and like how just like cool and mysterious and like how we just don't know anything about her. Obviously we get some dump
we get
in
a
this
little more, yeah.
batch, but like she's just so cool.
Can this book just be about her? Like, it's my whole thing.
Can we please get a spin-off series on just Morrigan?
Yeah, definitely.
God, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
She's so cool.
She's the best. Morrigan,
her story is sick. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Morrigan asks how they can winnow. And they say it's a secret and a special gift from your kind. Well, you kind of just told us what it was. Feyre says that war is coming. And hey, we got a big old favor to ask you guys. The oldest of these Elder Stars here is like, yeah, we know war is coming. We have been preparing for many years. Feyre is like,
right.
Well, we've kind of been, scoping the territory out here, checking things out. Sure doesn't look like you're preparing. And they're like, oh shit, no, not here. Like, this place
This
is
place
fucked.
sucks,
Yeah, this
dude.
place sucks. It's totally fucked. We'll give it up. We'll give up this at the drop of a hat. We're buried elsewhere. Places that matter. We're not too interested in this place. It's a sacrifice.
It would be a waste of resources,
Yeah.
she says.
Yeah. None of them are too big fans of that. Obviously, Feyre for sure is not a big fan of that. One of the queens tells her, no, maybe this is Rhys that says this. Surely the loss of even one innocent life would be abhorrent. The eldest queen folded her hands. Yes, to lose one life is always a horror, but war is war. If we must sacrifice this tiny territory to save the majority, then we shall do it. And she's like, why don't the High Fae of Prythian defend this realm? Nesta is pissed at this. She's like, we have servants here with family. They're children. You mean to leave us all in the hands of the Fae? So Nesta's still not, even though she's helping them, she's still not big on trusting.
Convinced.
Yeah. The fairies. It is no easy choice, the queen says, and Nesta, it is the choice of cowards.
It is ugh.
God, Nesta's the best.
Nesta fucking rules.
Feyre's like, well, for all that your kind hate ours, you'd leave the Fae to defend your people. And one of the other queens is like, shouldn't they? Shouldn't they defend against a threat of their own making? I feel like that's kind of a fair point. This is the Fae that is causing all these problems.
It is, but it's also so dismissive of their own people.
100%. It's a fair point, but it's also a very dick point.
Yes.
Should Fae blood not be spilled for their crimes over the years? Neither side is innocent, Rhys says. But we might protect those who are together.
Together.
And here's where the problems come in.
Yes.
Oh, the High Lord of the Night Court asks us to join with him, save lives with him, to fight for peace. And what of the lives you have taken during your long, hideous existence? What of the High Lord who walks with darkness in his wake and shatters minds as he sees fit? We have heard of you, even on the continent, Rhysand. We have heard what your Night Court does, what you do to your enemies. Peace? For a male who melts minds and tortures for sport, I did not think you knew the word. I would really think this would wake Rhys up to some realities. He does not acknowledge this at all.
What do you mean by that?
He does not acknowledge. It was last episode or a couple episodes ago where I was talking something to the effect of like, why does he still keep up
like
these
put on that front
of
okay,
I'm this evil Night Court Lord? He's gonna need some allies eventually. Like, him purposely cultivating that image is not the way to win you some allies, my guy. I was talking about this, saying something to this effect.
Yes. No, you did. You're right.
Here she is saying exactly that, what I have been saying. And it seemingly goes in one ear and out the other for Rhys. Does not acknowledge this as being an issue or a problem at all. He's like, well, just have to find out a way to trick him, basically. Or kind of, sort of. Their plan,
I mean, I agree and disagree a little bit.
Okay. Their plan eventually boils down to, that we show him what a stand-up guy I am. We show him Valaris. And it's like...
Which is huge, dude. Which is fucking huge.
Yes, but also he's not acknowledging the root of the problem, which again is this image that he's cultivating about himself purposefully, I might add. This isn't like some grand misunderstanding like a Jaime Lannister situation about being the Kingslayer. He purposefully cultivates this image that he is a horrible person. And here, this is a problem for these queens. And he's like, no, we'll find a way around that. That's not the problem. That's not the problem. I'll show him Valaris. I got Valaris in my back pocket.
So let me ask you.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds to me like he's flawed, but he's just not flawed in a way that you like and respect. Like, not in a way that you appreciate.
no,
because to you, it's stupid.
No.
It's bad decision making.
Well, yes, it is, but it goes way deeper than that. It goes, like, once we get more information on Morrigan's backstory, for example, and then when we get to the Night Court and see how he acts, it goes so much deeper than that. Because it's not just, oh, you're flawed, but in a way I don't like. It's, oh no, I think you're just like, you're either extraordinarily misguided, like crazy misguided, or you're just actually a bad person.
Yeah, but it's either way, it's just so hot though.
I can't fucking stand you.
I can't stand you.
I mean,
you're so
tell me where I'm wrong.
Hypercritical. You're just so like, look, dude. Okay, here, genuinely, jokes aside, this has been like what he has felt is the right thing to do for hundreds of years.
Right. Sure.
It's a little different than like, oh, we feel like this is the right thing in the moment in the past year or 2 or 6 months. Like, this is like, you can't just like break this. Like, he's built his entire everything based off of this. I will admit, misguided for the right reason though, in his eyes.
Sure.
You can't just be like, click, oh, I'm wrong and I need to change all of this.
I understand that. You know what's so funny is I believe it's him. Is it even in this chapter where, it exactly is. For the greater good, many atrocities, Rhys purred, have been done in the name of the greater good. Those words coming out of his fucking mouth, of all people, is hilarious. Because I can't remember if it was in this book or if it's elsewhere or whatever, but there's also the like, the best intentions thing, where it's like some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
Sure.
And that is just Rhys as a character in a nutshell.
But let's also look at this. So the people that he's, quote, mistreating, this makes me sound terrible, in the court of, what is it called? Nightmares, right? Court of Nightmares?
Yeah. The Hewn City or whatever.
The Hewn City. Are all the people that were his enemies when he took his position as High Lord of the Night Court.
Right.
So he put them in like a box and was like, if I've got to mistreat anybody, it's going to be you fucking cunts because you guys suck. And they do still suck.
Yes, 100%. But it goes so much deeper than that. Like, you don't just... Even for people who suck, you don't just create a prison camp for them and be like, hey, continue to be sucky and shitty, and I'm going to enable that and allow it and, let it be a thing, and that's totally cool.
Do you think the people in the Court of Nightmares know about Valaris?
No. I don't.
Dang, dude, that's fucking crazy. Like, that's like a Truman Show shit. No. I actually don't think they do either.
And that's not...
I mean, it's not cool, but it's like, it's a hard decision to like, these are the people who are against me.
Listen, I know, and
who are against like the things that like I want to accomplish with my lands and my people and whatever.
We're still getting way ahead of ourselves.
He should give them the opportunity for like that life that he's able to offer to Valaris, but like, I don't know, like they kind of suck.
They do kind of suck, especially some of them, and Okay. Now let's wait. We can't.
Yeah. No, you're right.
We have to wait. Everything has its due course. So again, the queens are like, hey, you have a reputation, my guy, and your reputation sucks balls, so we are not going to help you. The book will remain with us. It's even, although to be fair, even aside from his reputation, they kind of put up this front of like, the book has been in our palace. It has always been in our palace. It will remain in our palace forever. The end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Feyre begs them. She tells them how she was killed by Amarantha and how much damage just one of Hybern's generals could do. She says the old KOH will shatter the wall and they will lose the war badly. Then there's this thing here where you probably loved it a lot. Rhys jumps to her defense because they say you are young and have much to learn about the ways of the world. And Rhys is like, do not condescend to her, blah, blah, blah. Probably got you all hard.
Just like a half, like a chub.
Do not insult Feyre for speaking with her heart, with compassion for those who cannot defend themselves. Again, I think this guy's immune to irony. When you speak from only selfishness and cowardice.
It's a superpower of his.
It truly is. And yeah, this is where he says the line, for the greater good, many atrocities have been done in the name of the greater good. Was it just last episode or 2 episodes ago where I was like, this man loves talking about
the greater
good, like how this is.
Yeah, I think it was last episode.
We're going to steal from Tarquin, but don't worry. It's for the greater good. I really like Tarquin. I feel bad about stealing from him. Don't worry. It's for the greater good.
But
yeah,
this is where Morrigan comes in.
Morrigan, hell yeah!
I think that is Morrigan's music. I hear. So.
I think it is. Yeah. Hold on. Where the fuck is it?
And his name is John C.
Oh
my! Her name is Morrigan, baby.
And her name is Morrigan. Okay, she goes, that's enough. Morrigan interrupted. She gets to her feet.
Mm-hmm.
Looks at each of those fucking cunt-ass queens and is like, yo, I am the Morrigan.
I love this.
I'm the real Slim Shady.
I am the Morrigan. Fuck yes.
You know me, what I am. You know that my gift is truth.
What the fuck does that mean, by the way?
So you will hear my words now and know them as truth, as your ancestors once did. And nobody said a word. More gestures behind her, to me. Do you think it is any simple coincidence that a human has been made immortal again at the very moment when our old enemy resurfaces? I fought side by side with Miriam in the war, fought beside her as Jurian's ambition and bloodlust drove him mad and drove them apart. Drove him to torture the clitoris to death, then battle Amarantha until his own. Dude, torturing the clitoris is something crazy.
I can't fucking stand you.
That shit is crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
I like that during this, she also takes a breath and like Feyre notices that Azriel kind of like has a reaction, kind of inches a little bit closer to her. But Morrigan blazes on. I marched back into the Black Land. By the way, hold on. I'm sorry. Before I read this like chapter or this paragraph, I love how we get these like little drops of like typical fantasy names.
Yeah.
It definitely was like,
with these books.
Yeah.
It's like little sprinklings, and it's like, will you ever explain this? Probably not. I'm just gonna sprinkle it in here.
Yeah. I mean, but it does leave you like, I wonder what that is.
No, for
which
sure.
is good.
For
I think in fantasy, it's just. I don't know if it's just my outlook on like this style of book, but some of it's a little cheeseball.
Yeah, it's just funny and cheesy because it's like every 10 chapters we get this big sprinkle dump. It's like she can't just like She's really bad whenever she like salt and peppers anything, because instead of just like sprinkling it over a whole dish, she'll just like dump in one wad of salt in one area.
It's like when your friends play a prank on you and they unscrew the lid of the salt and you go to pour it and the whole salt.
That's
all
what
the
she
salt.
does.
Anyway.
She's like all your little lore tidbits is going to be in this one fucking paragraph.
Yeah. So she says, I marched back into the Black Land. What is the Black Land? With Miriam to free the slaves left in that burning sand. The slavery she had herself escaped. The slaves Miriam had promised to return to free. I marched with her, my friend. Along with Prince Dracon, new name, by the way. Dracon's
I
Legion.
think we've heard him before.
Have we?
Yeah, I think so.
Feyre hasn't. Miriam was my friend, as Feyre is now. And your ancestors, those queens who signed that treaty, they were my friends too. And when I look at you, she bared her teeth, I see nothing of those women in you. When I look at you, I know that your ancestors would be ashamed.
Woo.
You laugh at the idea of peace, that we can have it between our peoples. There's an island. This is interesting. There's an island in a forgotten, stormy part of the sea. By the way, the islands in this region. How many islands are there? Right.
Well, more than one, obviously.
There's several islands of like secrets, and it's like, well, if there's only, I don't know, whatever.
I bet
I just
one of
thought
the
it's funny that
is on one of them.
Yeah, probably. There's an island in a forgotten, stormy part of the sea, a vast, lush island, shielded from time and spying eyes.
This is like literally just the island from Lost.
Well, I mean, I've not seen Lost, but I know enough to know that, yes, it is the island from Lost. And on that island, Miriam and Dracon still live with their children, with both of their peoples, Fae and human, and those in between, side by side. For 500 years, they have prospered on that island, letting the world believe them dead. More, Rhys says, a quiet reprimand. So he's cutting her off, saying, hey, shut your fucking mouth. Shut your more mouth.
Don't you dare even insinuate that joke about
I know,
Morgan.
right? I should never say that. Yeah, Morgan is too precious. Dude, yeah, so more with the lore dump and also more with the subtle flex of like, yo, I am a super badass.
Yeah. Also,
and you guys better
Miriam
fucking
sounds
hear me.
like a super badass. But also, I feel like very surprised that Morgan would just tell them this secret this way. Like this 500-year-old
I think she's just getting a little hot.
She's getting a little hot.
We know how like emotional and frustrated she gets when it comes to like the human realm and like.
Seems a little desperate though.
I guess you're right. Yeah, it does a little bit.
Because that's a secret she's been holding on to for like 500 years. That's kind of crazy. And they're her friends too. So this is no small thing that she is revealing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, those are her homies.
Yeah. So that seems kind of wild, but apparently she thinks this is worth it and needed. So the queens ask for proof that Rhys is not who everyone thinks he is. Feyre thinks to herself the only proof is Valeris, which turns out, yep, that is the only proof. Rhys tells them he'll get them proof and to come when he summons, and there's this whole little bit about like, oh, no one summons us, and
nobody summons us.
They're dick measuring.
Yeah,
as
swinging their dick. Yeah,
as opposed to later when we get a literal dick measuring. This is just figurative dick measuring. Later we get a literal dick measuring. That book has been
But once
ours.
I leave.
What?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The book has been ours protect for 500 years. We will not hand it over without due consideration. The Golden Queen smirked at me and said, good luck. Then they were gone. The sitting room was suddenly too big, too quiet. And it was Elaine of all people, who sighed and murmured, I hope they all burn in hell. I'm like, damn, Elaine.
Hell yeah, Elaine.
I mean, I love me some Elaine. We didn't get any names for these queens, by the way, which was a little strange.
Yeah, I took note of that too.
Also, like, come on, Elaine, they weren't that bad. like, they were kind of bitches, but hoping they burn
feel
in
like
hell. For you, Elaine seems a little strong.
Yeah. I feel like they are just maybe a little ignorant to like the idea of working with Fae.
Sure.
But like,
Well,
you can't really
they're
blame
wary.
queens for like trying to consolidate like their,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
And you also
yeah,
can't blame
it's
them
normal.
for being wary of Rhys of all people.
Sure,
Like, when
right.
Morrigan steps up and starts speaking, it's like, okay, then that's when they like give a little ground and are like, okay, well, we can maybe do something if you bring us proof. Because before
Right.
it was like, no, the book stays in our palace forever. End of story. And then Morrigan steps
Right.
up and says some things, and you can tell they know her and respect her, and are
Morgan's like, yo, I'm the Morgan.
let me
Stop
flex
being
on you.
fucking
I'm
stupid.
the Morrigan. And that's when they give a little ground of like, okay, well, we need some proof that this shitbag isn't the shitbag that everyone knows
think
that
he
he
is.
is. So,
Right.
yeah. Honestly, I didn't think they were that bad. I think a lot
Yeah,
of
they're
what
fine.
they're doing makes sense.
I think
from
that
their
Elaine is
perspective.
just taking it personal.
Yeah.
Because
that's fair.
they're like dismissing their land.
Yes, no, that's
right? Like
true.
not caring for them. Right. Which
But,
is
yeah.
which is fair.
Nesta's reaction also totally fair. Like, good for
Yeah,
her.
totally.
All right. Chapter 41. So I think they're back in the house, or they're back in the House of Windsor. I can't remember where they're at, but they're talking about their options. Morgan is like, hey, let me go to the palace. Let me talk to them. And Azrael is like, hell no, that place is a death trap for our kind. Apparently it's got all kinds of magic and wards and traps and who knows what else kind of bullshit.
Magic and hoo-haws.
Exactly. Feyre asks, who is Miriam? And this is where we get our second big lore dump here. So 500 years ago, there was a Fey kingdom. It was a realm of sand, surrounding a lush river delta. The Black Land. There was no crueler place to be born a human, for no humans were born free. They were all slaves, forced to build great temples and palaces for the High Fae who ruled. This is just ancient Egypt, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no escape, no chance of having their freedom purchased, and the Queen of the Black Land, she made Amarantha seem as sweet as Elaine. Damn. Miriam, Rhys says, was a half-Fae female born of a human mother. And as her mother was a slave, as the conception was against her mother's will, so too was Miriam born in shackles and deemed human, denied any rights to her Fae heritage. This is where Amren cuts in and is like, you can tell the full story another time. The gist of it is that Miriam was given as a wedding gift by the queen to her betrothed. We don't get the name of the queen, I don't think, by the way, which is kind of confusing. But
Yeah, I don't think they mention it.
I don't think they ever said her name. A foreign Fae prince named Drakon. What are we calling him? Drakon?
Draco Malfoy. Dracon Malfoy.
Sure. He was horrified. So far, Drakon seems like a stand-up guy. And let Miriam escape. Fearing the queen's wrath, she fled to the desert, across the sea, into more desert, and was found by Jurian. She fell in with his rebel armies, became his lover, and was a healer amongst the warriors. Until a devastating battle found her tending to Jurian's new Fae allies, including Prince Draco Malfoy. Turns out Miriam had opened his eyes to the monster he'd planned to wed. He'd broken the engagement, allied his armies with humans, and had been looking for the beautiful slave girl for 3 years. Jurian had no idea that his new ally coveted his lover. He was too focused on winning the war, on destroying Amarantha in the north. As his obsession took over, he was blind to witnessing Miriam and Dracon falling in love behind his back. More cuts in. It wasn't behind his back. Miriam ended it with Jurian before she ever laid a finger on Dracon. So, Miriam, born a slave, is gifted by this horrible queen of the Black Land to the queen's betrothed, Prince Dracon. Dracon is horrified by this, does not like this, frees her, lets her.
I do not like it.
I do not like this. Lets her run. Also, this makes him realize this queen is a horrible piece of shit. I am going to break off my engagement and ally myself with the humans and fight against this. Miriam falls in with Jurian. They become lovers. Then later down the line, she is Florence Nightingaling, nursing up Dracon, and her and Dracon start falling in love. Probably because Jurian seems
Probably
like
because he has a sick ass name.
Who, Jurian or Dracon?
No, Dracon.
I was just say Jurian is not a cool name.
No, Jurian. He probably smells weird, like the fruit.
Yeah, he smells absolutely weird. Also seems like a giant douche, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
and
totally.
is more obsessed with this war and killing Amarantha than his lover. And I'm sure Miriam is falling out of love with him, and meanwhile falling in love with Dracon. So what I cannot remember, where my confusion with this comes in, is where does Clythia, your favorite Clythia, come in? Like, when does that part happen? Because I thought
it's too easy to
lovers.
forget about the Clythia.
I will never.
It's too
forget
easy to
about
forget
the
about the.
No.
You're a good lover.
You have to mind the Clythias.
Dude.
You gotta mind it. You gotta give it special attention to the Clythia. So this, okay. The story is adding up. Makes sense. Oh, hold on. I guess there's still more here. Amren says, long story short, when Jurian was slaughtered by Amarantha, she told him what had happened to his lover, which was Miriam, but also Clythia, I'm pretty sure. That she'd betrayed him for a Fey male. Everyone believed Miriam and Dracon perished while liberating her people from the Black Land at the end of the war, even Amarantha, but they didn't. It was all a way to escape, to start over somewhere else with both of their people. So Feyre is like, so why not show the queens that? Show them this magical land where everyone lives in harmony, the island. Because in addition to it not proving a thing about my character, which seemed to be their biggest gripe, the only self-awareness this man has in the moment.
Fuck off.
It would be a grave betrayal of our friends. Their only wish was to remain hidden, to live in peace with their peoples. They fought and bled and suffered enough for it. I will not bring them into this conflict. Meanwhile, Cassian is like, we might need to bring them into this conflict. Like, Dracon's aerial army was pretty fucking good. We might need to call on his ass by the end. So
we might need to call in for an airstrike.
Yeah, we might need to call in for the airstrike. So him saying this is another part of why it shocked me that Morgan was even revealing this information.
Right.
But anyway, that was not very succinct, but did I miss anything there? Did you have other understanding of that or any comments on that?
That's pretty straightforward. Like,
sure.
That's pretty what it was.
I'm sure we have to at some point, surely. But I look forward to meeting Miriam and Dracon because they seem pretty cool. They seem pretty legit.
They do seem cool. Also, they could legit just be like, yo, peace and love, bro. Like, fucking.
You think they're just hippies?
Keep that mess away from us, bro.
Oh, you mean as in like you don't think we'll see them? We'll meet them? They'll just be on their island?
No, we could meet them, but they're totally not going to be as cool.
Oh.
Like, they're just going to be Switzerland.
They're just going to be... Yeah, sure. Well, fair enough. We love the Swiss here.
We do love the Swiss.
Rhys says,
for our Swiss listeners,
for all our
love
Swiss
you guys.
listeners, shout out to you. Rhys says that the only thing that proves what they want is showing them Valaris, which is what Feyre had thought in the moment. He says he'll show them by their own rules.
Which I don't fully understand, by the way.
Yeah. Then he tells Mor to send word to her father that they're going to the Court of Nightmares to get Mor's family's truth orb. to get her family's truth orb, Zach.
Yeah, listen, dude. Okay, so one of my biggest notes.
This is my second favorite line in this batch.
So one of the things that that I was thinking about during this batch is Sarah J. Maas, I think, does do a really good job of writing characters, but does a really bad job of writing magic and like plot.
Yeah.
I think
that's pretty
definitely
fair to say.
And like maybe bad, like in like just like straight up bad job is maybe a little unfair, but like she's like that is clearly not the strong part of this story. And I know we've talked a little about that in the past.
Yes.
So I don't want to like, belabor that point, but
Part
in situations like this,
finish what you were gonna say.
Just in situations like this, or the book, or the cauldron, or the like, you have to go here. Like, okay, one thing also that really stood out in this batch was like, it's like it's not even every chapter. It's just like every like scene switches from like them being back at Valaris and then going to go do something and then back at Valaris to debrief. There's
a lot of that.
So it's like that's where I feel like that's where she's safe, where she can let these characters mingle and like is incapable of like writing dialogue or interaction or like meaningful plot outside of them debriefing in Valaris.
Yeah.
It's fucking like really is starting to drive me a little crazy. That is one
right.
like the major criticism I have here.
There's almost part of me that respects it. Because you know how we taught. Well, hold on. I said almost a part of me.
Okay,
because how we talked about how I generally like don't give a shit about plot and like obviously like characters and stuff like that is what's most important to me.
It's number one always.
And Sarah J. Maas is really like, I feel like, and put your money where your mouth is, bitch. Like, really? You really don't care about plot? Because stuff just happens with like no precursor or build up. Like what's this week's like adventure of the week is like
monster of the week.
We're going to the Weaver's Den this week, and Feyre's gonna sneak into the Weaver's house, and that's gonna come out of nowhere, and we'll never speak of it again after we're out. And now we're getting Morgan's family's special truth orb. And it's just like things just happen out of nowhere and with little to no explanation. And like I said, there's almost part of me that just wants to respect it and be like, all right, hell yeah, just strap me on, daddy. I'm here for the ride, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's happened so much, and you're right. Not whiplash isn't really the word I'm looking for, but like the back and forth of going to do this, back to Valaris.
It's like a fucking roguelite, dude. Like they pass a level and then they're back to the...
This book would make a crazy roguelite. It's like, dude, I made it all the way to the fucking Hume City on this run. Now I'm back at Valaris to talk to my homies again. It's just
honestly,
80s.
dude, it's just straight up a fucking roguelite. It's just 80s.
You're so right. You are so right.
It really is crazy. Like, so
God.
that's like honestly been my, like, every time we get the little symbol that means that like it's a time skip, it's like, okay, we're back in Valaris, or it's a new chapter, we're back in Valaris.
There's a symbol.
And yeah, like in the book, like when they have like little time skip symbol.
Yeah. Like a break. Like it's not a chapter break,
chapter
but like
break.
it's a mid-chapter break. Yeah, okay.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
But and like it's difficult because like it is a knee-jerk reaction for me to like feel that way, but like it is still valid. Like none of the plot or like everything happens in Valaris, which isn't inherently bad. I just feel like it's definitely like a safe space for Sarah J. Maas in this book.
Yeah.
It's like this is the place where I can let them mingle without it disrupting the other like threads of my world, without me having to like be aware of consequences or aware of like these other like happenings around. Like that we can it's the sandbox basically is what it is.
Now that you brought up the roguelike thing, I think Sarah J. Maas might be a big gamer because I'm thinking of so many other comparisons that I could draw to like video game structures of like RPGs or like fucking Fire Emblem, like going back to the monastery, and it's like, oh,
going back to the monastery,
who am I gonna spend my time with today? Let's go and see what Amren's up to. It's like, if I take lamb's blood to Amren, I'll get more.
I'll get plus
points.
2 on relationship.
I'll get plus 2 to my relationship points with Amren. It's just like, I think Sarah J. Maas is a huge gamer.
She's a Fire Emblem fan for sure.
You would probably like a bunch of RPGs, is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, definitely. It really is like, I think that's maybe the biggest like strict, like just like writing, like talking about the writing here, like that is probably the biggest like issue is like it doesn't feel like a story that is like moving cohesively and like they're doing a thing and it's affecting like the course of the rest of the book. Right. It's like they do a thing, it accomplishes this, and then it's like just on to the next thing. It doesn't like affect the rest of, or I mean, at least not yet anyway.
It's
like,
just
we haven't seen
structurally
any,
pretty strange right now.
It is a little strange. And like, look, it's I want to be super fair to, like, especially obviously for like our listeners and like viewers who like love this. I am enjoying this.
Yeah,
I think like Scott and I have said this several times. I think Scott, you said it just a couple minutes ago. Like, character interactions like rule above all else, in my opinion. And I get so wrapped up in those, and I adore them so much that like I absolutely can look past that
for sure. And I think the fact that we're talking a lot about this and having this long of discussions about all these things is because we do care about it. Like if we didn't care about the story and the characters, we would just be like, well, whatever, let's move on.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're having these, these deep conversations about these things shows that we do care and that we don't, dislike it. It's just an observance.
I do think that like it's just, there's potential for this exact same story being told with a different format that I think would be like so much more appealing to
Perhaps
somebody who like really enjoys like very plot driven fantasy.
Sure.
And
I don't disagree.
It's one of the reasons why, this is kind of a sidebar, I'm so excited to read Throne of Glass, which I am starting here very soon, which is another Sarah J. Maas series that everybody says it's there. Like everybody is like, if you enjoy ACOTAR, you're gonna like this, but it's just like 10 times better because it's more plot driven.
Sure.
Like it's got character stuff, but it's like it's actually like a well thought out plot as well. So
good luck with that one.
Yeah, I know. It's like 8 books, so that's tight.
But yeah, in case I didn't mention this, they're going to get Morgan's family's truth orb.
Oh yeah, the truth orb.
The fucking truth orb. Some people have the gift of prophecy. Morgan has the gift of truth, apparently. So I can't remember how we get this, but Feyre is saying she's been here 2 months and hadn't worked up the courage to walk through the artist's quarters. But this place, Rhys would risk this beautiful city, these lovely people, all for a shot at peace. Perhaps the guilt of leaving it protected while the rest of Prythian had suffered drove him. Perhaps offering up Valaris on a silver platter was his own attempt to ease the weight. This is interesting because Feyre kind of called him on this at one point in this book, right? I think she's like,
yes, kind
of, how dare you protect this and not the rest of the country, kind of almost saying, like, she realized it was kind of ridiculous and impossible, but she did kind of put that out there. And here, this is possibly her thinking, hey, maybe he does feel guilty about that.
Right.
So Rhys tells her he's thinking of telling her not to go tomorrow, so she doesn't have to see him be the horrible High Lord of the Night Court again. Because he likes that she's got the hots for him and doesn't think that he's a monster. Feyre feels more confident with going back under the mountain. And
yeah, she's got a lot more support and security than she has had in the past. Emotional and physical security and support.
Yes, definitely.
So she's like, hey, I can do this thing.
Yes. Then she asks why Mor looked so upset. And here's we get a lore drop about our girl Morrigan. So Rhys tells her, I was there in the hewn city the day her father declared she was to be sold in marriage to Eris, eldest son of the High Lord of the Autumn Court, Lucian's brother. Eris had a reputation for cruelty, and Mor begged me not to let it happen. For all her power, all her wildness, she had no voice, no rights with those people. And my father didn't particularly care if his cousins used their offspring as breeding stock. Feyre asks what happened. I brought Mor to the Illyrian camp for a few days, and she saw Cassian and decided she'd do the one thing that would ruin her value to these people. I didn't know until after, and it was a mess with Cassian, with our families. And it's another long story, but the short of it is that Eris refused to marry her. She'd been sullied by a bastard-born lesser fairy, and he'd now sooner fuck a sow.
Ugh.
Her family, Feyre comments here, I'd never seen him at such a loss for words. Rhys cleared his throat. When they were done, they dumped her on the Autumn Court border with a note nailed to her body that said she was Eris's problem.
Nailed.
That's so fucked. Eris
nailed to her body.
Yeah. Eris left her for dead in the middle of their woods. Azriel found her a day later. It was all I could do to keep him from going to either court and slaughtering them all. I thought of that merry face, the flippant laughter, the female that did not care who approved, perhaps because she had seen the ugliest her kind had to offer and had survived. And I understood this. Okay. This, I don't know if I want to. This was such a weird thing here, sentence from I did not get at all.
The Nesta thing?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Yes. I also thought that was so out of place.
It's so out of left field and doesn't make any sense. Because, okay, we'll talk in depth.
Read it how it is.
Okay, we'll talk in depth for sure about this Morgan stuff. No, I have it here. Because that's all great. This is very strange and weird. And I understood why Rhys could not endure Nesta for more than a few moments. Why he could not let go of that anger where her failings were concerned, even if I had. The fuck is Feyre saying here?
It's so strange. Like, the times that they've interacted with Nesta, like, I have not felt like Rhys has been overly reactive or like it's a very strange. Like, it's almost like Sarah J. Maas wants us to feel that specifically, but had not done the actual interactions to make that apparent.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe
it's a little tell not showing.
It's so bizarre because I'm sorry, also Feyre, but Nesta's failings as a sister to you are not equal to what Morgan and her family, like what Morgan's family.
Oh my God,
their failings to her, those are not comparable. Like Nesta was a bit mean and a bit of a bitch to you when you were younger.
Yes,
those things are not equal.
The only reaction that Rhys has had in regards to Nesta or her family is when they were at their cabin, like at nighttime, like when they were in the like guest room or in their bed or whatever. he does make
was,
mention of like how
yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't like respect the work that Feyre was putting in
I
for them.
remember
But like
we talked about this now that you say that.
it was not nearly as heavy as this.
No, but also I
Like,
do remember.
I mean, so far.
I do remember calling out Rhys for him being mad on Feyre's behalf because Feyre had already let it go. Feyre was past it. And now here she is dragging it up again in the most bizarre, like, one of these things is not like the other at all. This was the weirdest fucking most out of place, like, line that I was so confused by. I do not understand.
Yeah, definitely a little strange to me as well.
Dash should have been cut. That's where's Sarah J. Maas's editor? That is
yeah.
so weird.
Let's have a conversation with them.
We're completely missing something, but I don't think we are. Okay, let's talk about that weirdness aside. This Morgan backstory is so fucked. But also just so good because we know how strong of a character Morgan is, how she seems to just be, she does not let this, like, you know, outwardly affect her. Like, I'm sure this affects her on, you know, many levels, but she hasn't let this ruin her life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm putting that in the right way.
No, yeah, I think that's valid. Like, I think one of the things about Morgan that I think often is like, this is a weird, like, this is not a critique. This is just an observation and maybe my own personal feelings here. But like, her character backstory and like the things that she has had to overcome, they are too interesting for the caliber of the backstory and like stuff that like other characters in this series are dealing with for her to be a support character. Like, I cannot help but every single time I read about Morrigan think that, man, I just need a series about Morrigan. Like, I just want to read about her.
You know what? I wasn't thinking about this from that angle, but you're so right.
You're
like, so right.
Because, like, look, dude, like, a lot of series have incredible side character backstories.
Sure.
But not so much that, like, they really overshadow the main character.
Sure.
Like, anytime I get anything from Morrigan, I am just entranced.
Well,
I'm so, like, just so like, please give me more of this.
You know,
please.
You know what's so funny is there was a prime example of what you just said that immediately sprung to mind, and I bet you can guess what it is. Of the side characters completely
being
overshadowing the main characters. And being so much more interesting and having better backstories.
Oh, well, Nico Robin is probably...
No, because the main character, she is a main character, first of all. I was thinking of Naruto.
Who were you thinking of? Like Shikamaru
like
or...
Kakashi or...
Oh, Kakashi? Yeah, for sure.
Like, so much more interesting and has a better backstory than fucking Sasuke and or Naruto.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a moot point, honestly. Because
that's just, well, yeah, that's not saying a whole lot, I guess. But no, you just immediately made me think of that because you're so right.
She's just like, everything is just so rich with her. And
also, do you feel like maybe this information is too good and too important to just be passed along in this manner?
Side skirted? Dude, yes!
Yeah.
That's exact. Okay, so there's that.
For
that was
Rhys,
my thought.
Just to be like, long story short, this is what happened to Morgan.
Yes, dude, it's just like, not okay. Like, this needs to be a novella.
Yes.
Like, and if not a series, this needs to be a novella. Like, I just need more of it.
Again, I feel like this is one of my main problems with first-person narratives.
Yes.
Is
oh my God,
yes. You can only get this type of information from one person telling your main character. Rather than letting us experience it, letting us be there, you know?
Yes.
Well,
my
actually,
God, yes.
You know what? There's a built-in in-world way that could have been done He could have just like, hey, Mind Palace, this shit. Let me
Yes.
show you what happened to Morgan.
Dude. So what's funny about you saying that, like the point of view writing style is like, so I am wrapping up the Red Rising trilogy, or the original trilogy, I should say, and everything in these 3 books so far have all been from the main character Darrow's point of view, which has been good, and there's been enough like rich interaction with his side characters, but like Darrow is like 5th or 6th or 7th on the list of like how much I like the main character, like, or like the other characters. Like he's so low on the power ranking. He's cool, but like so many of the side characters are just incredible. And like I know that the next book and the rest of the series is written from like POV chapters rather than just from Darrow's point of view. And I'm really looking forward to that, because like it's almost like if after this book, Scott, if we knew that the rest of ACOTAR was written in POV style,
I'd be so
like
excited.
Oh my god, dude, I'd be so excited, dude, to just get like just Rhys or just Moore or just Amryn.
Yes.
Like even Asriel and Cashin,
Yes.
like, or like they would just be so or oh my god, dude, or a Nesta chapter.
Oh
like,
my god, yes.
Ugh.
See, it's just,
or a Lucian chapter.
well, you know I want that. It's funny you should bring up Lucian, because I actually have a note about him here where I was like, I realized, I was like, you would think Rhys would be a little bit more, I don't know if appreciative is the right word, but understanding about Lucian and his situation, considering both of their histories with his shit family.
Right.
Like, but Rhys, every time Lucian comes up, is like, fuck that guy.
It's a little strange, right?
Because Lucian also has horrible history with the things his family did, and so do you, Rhys, with Lucian's family, and you can't spare a kind
feel
word
like
for Lucian.
It's just easy and maybe slightly lazy writing. Like he's associated with Tamlin, so he's like, fuck him.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yes.
That's not okay. Yes. As much as I appreciated getting to know this information, because obviously the more Morgan, the better. It felt a little tossed off. That seems strong. It just felt like, I felt like it could have been told in a much more interesting and impactful way. That's what I'm trying to say. And again, I just thought of this, but there is a totally perfect in-universe mechanism that they've already utilized that you could have done that with.
It's almost like in Harry Potter, like when they use the pensive to go relive memories.
Exactly
like,
that.
They should have done that.
Or just fuck it, go off and have a Feyre point of view chapter, which were some, like Rowling did, which were some of the best chapters in those books. Like what was the Prime Minister chapter in the first chapter of whichever book that was?
The Other Minister is what it's called.
Oh yeah.
It's the first chapter in is it Order of the Phoenix?
Right.
Yeah. The Other Minister.
Do some shit like that. I don't know. Like, no, I mean,
it's a good chapter.
It definitely should have been Rhys, I feel like, showing her memories or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Wishful thinking. Look, like it's not to say that this is bad inherently, because it's not. It's just for people who enjoy this type of storytelling, I think it's just a big missed opportunity.
Also, I think we are really sensitive when it comes to Morgan stuff, because we fucking love Morgan stuff.
I mean, dude, but like honestly, the same, like we haven't gotten this opportunity to like chat about this with with characters like Asriel or Amryn, like where there's been like a major dump.
Yes.
You know,
this is
like
literally,
I would feel the same about them.
This is literally a problem of Sarah J. Maas's own making, where she has created a character that we love and so much and are so interested in that when we're like feel she's done a disservice at all, we're like rallying to her.
You better fucking fix
fucking
this.
do this better. All right.
Yeah.
That was
Okay,
all I
right.
had for chapter 41.
Yeah, we've got 42 is a big chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot that happens here, and I have a feeling we're going to need to work to like funnel this down to like the key points.
Yeah.
But before we jump into this chapter, I just need to say that I needed to contact a doctor because I had an erection for 4 or more hours. Okay.
Was it
And I didn't even take my
Erection?
my fucking Blue Chew, dude.
Nah, you didn't need it for this chapter.
I did not need it for this chapter. This is you said that one of the last chapters was one of your favorites. And I just wanted to say, like, this was my favorite chapter of the bunch because there was obviously some spicy, hot, sexy stuff. But, like, I also really liked some of the interactions and, like, the, like, inner dialogue and tension. And even just, like, the slight, like, it's not really an action scene at the beginning, but, like, just, like, like when they're flying and like the arrows, like I really liked the imagery of like how intense and like urgent this was. I thought this was a great chapter, Scott.
I forgot about that.
I don't know if you felt
thing.
the same, but like
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't. This was the chapter that had a line that made me literally Zach laugh out loud and just feel I said, "Oh, come the fuck on," to my computer.
I will come the fuck on, by the way.
Yes, I know you will. What I did love about this chapter is that it starts with a literal dick measuring contest.
Actually,
again,
though, dude, like actual dick measuring.
Not a figurative dick measuring contest, an actual dick measuring contest.
It's so good.
I also love that, because this is Feyre, Amren and Moore told me the span of an Illyrian male's wings says a lot about the size of other parts. I love the fact that, God, but I'm also, again, so pissed off. Why are we not getting this girl talk between Feyre, Amren, and Moore?
Dude,
like, why are you not showing us fucking that?
Seriously, bro.
Show me a full chapter of Feyre, Amren, and Moore sitting around and talking about Illyrian dick sizes. Please, for the love of God. And then Feyre follows up with, they also said Asriel's wings are the biggest. I fucking love it. This is my favorite Feyre, is when she's just being a little flirty shit, I think. When we return home, let's get out the measuring stick, shall we? I also have this line specifically. I think this must be Rhys. During sex, an Illyrian male can find completion. Such a
oh my God, this was
such a classy way of saying that, by the way, my dude. During sex, an Illyrian male can find completion just by having someone touch his wings in the right spot.
Dude, so she okay, so she goes, fascinating. So she had already accidentally like touched his wing and like realizes that he kind of reacted, and she goes, fascinating.
She literally brushed his wing and he went.
He goes,
yeah.
Dude.
This might not have been my favorite chapter, but I have a feeling it will be my favorite chapter to talk to you about.
So fascinating. I blindly reached again. I don't think you were very blind to this, Feyre, but and dared to run a fingertip along some inner edge.
Oh, she's just reaching and groping, man.
Rhysand shuddered, a soft groan slipping past my ear. Do it, Scott. Do it. Exactly like that. He said tightly, is very sensitive.
Oh my God. By the way, can we appreciate that Feyre is really out here trying to invent like the winged Karma Sutra? Because he's like, no, I don't use my wings during sex.
Okay,
bro.
hold on. Wait. Speaking of wings, I need you to open your email, please.
Oh God. Hang on. What did you fucking send me?
Just open it.
Do I even want to know?
Yeah, and you got to pull it up on screen for our viewers.
That's definitely not gonna happen. What
No,
are
it
you
is.
talking about?
This is you. This is you if you were an Illyrian.
What?
Yeah, honestly, it's both of us.
All right. Let me. You know what? I think it thinks you're a fucking spammer bot again, and it won't let me download this.
Well, I am.
I'm gonna save this image as wings. All right. Let's see if I can make this work. Hold on, folks. I fucking hate you, Zach. Making me do this. And you also the one they're like, we gotta focus on the things that are
but
important.
also it's just
and
too
also
good,
apparently these the things that are important.
Yeah, this is just Scott. If he was an Illyrian.
No, hold on. You said both of us. You can't just then only throw me under the bus. It was funny when you said both of us. It's not funny when you only say me, you dickhead. Should we keep... What's this dude's name? It's from A Bug's Life, right?
Yeah, it's from A Bug's Life.
Is it Bug's Life or Ants?
No, it's Bug's Life.
Okay, yeah. He's funny. I like him.
He is so fucking funny, dude.
We're just going to leave him up there for a while.
What would be so incredible if there was a fourth Illyrian where it's like all
tiny wings. That would be very good. That would be very, very good. Okay.
So fucking funny.
Yeah, anyway, there's a part where he's like, yeah, I don't use my wings. No one sees my wings during sex, bro. Like, come on. That's special stuff.
That's like me spreading my ass and letting you touch my G-spot.
Exactly.
Bro. Like, that's super intimate.
Exactly. Bro. And Feyre literally says something to the effect of like, shame. I was just thinking there could be some really interesting positions with wings. And I'm like, oh my God, Feyre.
Yes.
Feyre is wild, bro.
She is crazy.
She is a wild one. Yeah, so then these arrows are shot at them, and I thought this was really dumb and weird and out of place, but you liked this?
Wait, which ones?
They could just a bunch of arrows come out of nowhere.
Well, yeah,
and does nothing and then amounts to nothing.
I don't think it was like... So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it felt out of place because I think it's going to get resolved.
Sure.
Later.
I'm sure it's building to something.
But it was just the first time I had felt like there's been moments of action in these books so far, but this was the first where it felt like this is gonna sound corny, and I don't inherently like this, but like this is kind of what I'm equating it to. Like there was almost this like superhero like Avengers like quality to it. Like so these arrows come shooting at them.
You just. Because Cassian and Rhys just like shields up and block.
Yes, honestly, yes. Like I mean, truly. Like again, this is not inherently why I like. Like I just like we haven't gotten to see these characters deal with like physical adversity together. Like that's probably what it is at its core. It's just it's painted in this very like honestly like kind of superhero way. They're flying, arrows start shooting at them. Cassian and Azriel like intercept a lot of these arrows with their siphons. They all land together. It's like very superhero like, which is like we just have not experienced that type of thing with these characters. So I thought it was like cool. I was like, oh dang, like yeah, like they are in kick-ass mode.
Yeah,
and I liked it. I didn't think it was bad.
I thought I could not stand it. I was like, I'm sure this is building to something, but this was like such a bizarre place to do it. And also it amounted to actual bump kiss because then even Feyre makes a big deal about, no, let me help you track them. And then I'm pretty sure it does one of your chapter breaks then. And it's like, oh, we tried tracking them for an hour, but found nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went inside in the huge city.
Yes.
Like, yes. What the fuck are we doing here?
I like the scene, but like, again, her writing style is very strange to me.
Yeah. Let's get inside the Hewn City because that's where
let's do this.
The big stuff happens.
The big stuff, you say?
God damn it. Wings, that wingspan, my guy. So Mor and Feyre go in first. They go into the palace. By the way, they're all dressed to the nines. They look hot as hell.
Dude, Morgan. Okay, I'm sorry, Scott.
Yeah.
I need to read this.
Okay, tell me.
So, oh my God. Dude,
do you have
Morgan,
every single paragraph in this chapter highlighted?
I have a lot of it highlighted, but I will refrain from reading it all. Okay. So first off, the gates of eternity. And she says that Feyre says that that's what she would call the painting that flickers in her mind.
Magic painting powers.
Throughout these chapters and some of the last batch of chapters, there's been this like thing happening where she's becoming artistic again in a way, which I think is cool. It's a cool character concept. But then Mor continued through them, a flash of color and life in this strange, cold place. She wore deepest red. I don't know how to pronounce this word. The gossamer. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Gossamer and gauze of her sleeveless gown clinging to her breasts and hips, while carefully placed shafts left much of her stomach and back exposed. So she looks hot as fuck. Her hair was down in rippling waves, and cuffs of solid gold glinted around her wrists. A queen who bowed to no one. A queen who had faced them all down and triumphed. A queen who owned her body, her life, her destiny, and never apologized for it. And there's two things I need to point out here, Scott. One, Morgan is incredible. Morgan is like actually just that bitch.
Yeah.
Like she is so cool. But two,
100%.
like I know this is like women writing women, and I appreciate that so much. I wish more male authors wrote women like this. Like she is such a powerful woman. I love Morgan so much. Like just because of the way that this image was like written. I'm just such a fan, dude.
Yeah.
It's so fucking sick. Morgan rules so hard.
Morgan absolutely rules. And I don't know what you would have to do to get me to say a bad word about Morgan. Like that's
honestly though, like yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Again, like we talked about, it's just like she's overshadowing the main character. She really is, and I just want more.
There's even a moment, and like this is just kind of in the same vein. I'm getting a little ahead, but there's even a moment later where Feyre thinks to herself, "I waited for the blush, the shyness to creep in, but I was beautiful. I was strong."
Yeah. No, Feyre
like,
is in her bag
so
here
good
as well.
Absolutely, dude. I'm so into this. But all right, sorry. I'll let you take the wheel here.
So yeah, they go into the palace. They briefly meet her father. He seems like a real prick. They make an elaborate show of Morgan, Cassian, Asriel, and then Rhys coming in all his power. He takes Feyre up to the throne to sit on his lap, and it's all for show, of course. All for show, all for show, all for show. That's what Feyre and Rhys keep telling themselves, but we'll see. Yeah.
Come on.
And then
what's in the box?
My next note just says, and now Feyre is nearing orgasm on his lap as he plays with her while Morgan's father gives his report. I feel like, did I sum that up pretty about
I mean, you summed
happening?
it up, but you didn't really sum up the tension that I felt reading this, because like this is, you want to talk about, like we talk about gooning. We talk about gooning on this podcast.
We do talk about gooning.
Talk about a fucking gooner chapter.
Yeah. This is a big gooning chapter.
This is a gooner
Rhys
chapter
and
for
Feyre
sure.
Especially.
Yeah,
I am engaging in consumption.
That was you this chapter. You were engaging in consumption.
So much consumption, dude.
This is Feyre talking. I wondered then, with his hands beneath my breasts and between my legs, what Rhys wouldn't give himself. Wondered if perhaps the arrogance and swagger, if they masked a male who perhaps thought he wasn't worth very much at all. This is what she's thinking about while He's like just straight up like feeling her up, bringing her to near what was the word? Completion? What? No, there was some other word. It was like found completion. She's finding completion over here. But this is
It's
what
like
she's
playing
thinking
hide
about.
and seek, and she's the master of that shit, dude. She's like, oh, got your ass.
I got you. You were behind the
got
couch.
your ass. I'm sitting on his lap, so I got your ass.
Okay. Okay. Most of the rest of what I have for this chapter is the problems I have with it. So why don't you go? Why don't you
do
your thing first?
I liked the imagery and how fucking sexy this chapter was.
Sure.
That's what I liked. Blue Chew could go out of business because of this chapter is what I'm saying.
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
So
yeah.
From the very start,
Uh-huh.
so everybody bows when Rhys shows up.
Mhm.
And she's talking about how she can feel his power.
Oh yeah, she can
thundering
feel,
through the
She can feel
room.
his something.
She
All
can
right.
fucking feel that shit, dude.
Yeah.
And
pressing
honestly,
against her backside, she can feel
me-
something.
me reading this, I could feel that power too.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So they're all bowing. Heads or like eyes are to the floor or whatever.
Mhm.
And then Rhys's boot, this is quote, Rhys's boots stopped in front of my line of sight.
Oh, you're backing way up from where I was. I was trying to move us fuck along, and you're like, nope.
No, I gotta paint an image here. His fingers were icy on my chin as he lifted my face. Welcome to my home, Feyre Cursebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
He clicked his tongue. Hot, by the way, okay? Hot. Why is that hot? I don't fucking know, but it's hot.
What the fuck is happening?
His grip on my chin tightening. Everyone noticed the push of his fingers, the predatory angle of his face as he said, "Come with me." A tug on my chin. I rose to my feet. Rhys dragged his eyes over me, and I wondered if it wasn't entirely for show they glazed a bit.
Spoiler alert, Feyre, it's not.
Spoiler alert, dude.
Spoiler
He's
alert.
rock hard.
He is just like a diamond in an ice storm right now. I don't know if I have it, but there's one point where she thinks to herself, like, man, maybe he's just a really good actor or like something along those lines. I'm like, Feyre,
like, dude, my boy's in showbiz, dude.
You cannot. Boners
Where's the
don't fake
fluffer at?
themselves, Feyre. You can literally feel his boner against your ass, and he's like, wow, he's a really good actor, actually.
So here, like, I just really liked, like, when I'm talking about sexual tension, Scott, like, this is what I'm talking. Like, the fact that this started at the beginning of the chapter, we get that, like, whole, like, oh, his, you know, like, his boots stop in front of me. He pulls my chin up. Like, that's hot. It's sexy. Come with me. You know, he's in charge of her. He's in charge of everybody.
I think you must be into like exhibitionism more than I am,
not,
Zach. Because
it's not about that. Because like there's even a moment.
This would be hot and sexy if they were like alone, but they're just.
It's hot and sexy
in this
regardless.
throne room with like Morrigan's fucking shit ass creepy ass dad just staring at them the whole time, and I'm like, this is like. There's fun to be had here, but this is weird. This is a little weird.
Look, dude. It's not about exhibitionism specifically.
I think it might be.
It's about, hey, this is so hot that I don't care where we're at.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Uh-huh.
But the tension, dude, from the beginning of this chapter, or I guess, let me rephrase, from the beginning of the scene, it being like that, and it just being like the whole rest of this chapter was like, dude, this is pretty hot, man. Like, they need to fuck so bad, and like I need them to fuck so bad.
I found my favorite line of this chapter and this whole, and maybe this whole series. Honestly, this was the one that made me stop and be like, "Oh, shut the fuck up," and laugh.
Wait, hold on.
Do you want to guess?
His hand slid higher up my thigh.
No.
The proprietary touch of a male who knew he owned somebody and someone's body and soul. He'd apologize in advance for it, this game, these roles that we'd have to play. Like, It's pretty hot, man.
Yeah, can I just say... No,
It's
you know
pretty
what?
hot,
I'm going to
dude.
save that. I'm going to save that.
Okay, all right,
Let
save it.
me
right,
again
give me the
attempt
line.
to get us forward here.
It's not gonna happen.
Here's the setup. The steward, which this is Morgan's father, was staring unabashedly, yes, as he leaned against the wall, unsure whether to interrupt, half terrified to. We were his distraction. We were the sleight of hand while Az stole the orb. And here it is, Zach. Are you ready for this? I knew Rhys was still holding Kier's gaze as the tip of his tongue slid up my neck.
Oh, dude.
I can't even fucking read it without laughing. Dude is literally staring this dude in the eyes. I was just going on the back of her neck. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, but when you actually picture it, it's a little weird. But in theory, it's so hot.
Again, this just proves to me you're way into exhibition. You're like, yeah, Kier's watching. Fuck yes. Yeah, hold that gaze. Look me in the eyes while I cuck you or whatever. I don't know if that's exactly cucking. But
At some point, she says, apology and gratitude and more apologies. He didn't like this any more than I did. Fucking liar.
Yeah,
fucking liar ass shit ass Feyre.
Yeah. That's
You
what I was
like
talking
this
about.
shit.
Yeah.
And he likes this shit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But
he does. You don't fake boners. Come on, Zach.
No, actually, Scott, if we're being totally real here, you don't really control boners.
Well, no, that's true. You get random boners. That's a thing.
Yeah.
But that's
also,
usually
like,
completely unrelated to anything else that's going on.
I feel like somebody, not just random, somebody who you're not sexually attracted to, somebody who you don't want to engage with intimately, could literally flick your dick and it would get hard.
That's true.
Like, it's just binary, dude. Like, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah, listen, like, an attractive woman sitting on your lap, you staring into some other dude's eyes while you lick her neck. Yeah, you'll probably get a little hard. Like, regardless of how you feel about that person, you'd probably get a little hard. It's so, here's another line from Feyre that's hilarious. I arched my back, eyes heavy-lidded, breathing uneven. I'd burn and burn and burn. I think he's so disgusted that he might have given me the orb just to get out of here.
Dude. Yeah. Okay. I do have a line that I like. It's when so in the midst of all this, they actually kind of like have a mental conversation with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little breath of fresh air between like the sexual tension and like kind of injecting a little bit more of like emotional connection between the two. So Feyre says, let's see here. Sorry, excuse me. So she says, acknowledging his insecurities, right? About being like desired and wanted and blah, 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 blah. She tells him, you are good, Rhys. You are kind. This mask does not scare me. I see you beneath it. His hands tightened on me and his eyes held mine as he leaned forward to brush his mouth against my cheek. It was an answer enough and an unleashing. I leaned a bit more against him, my legs widening ever so slightly. Why did you stop? I said into his mind, into him. And like, I just like, okay, like truly, obviously, this is a whole scene.
Yeah.
This is a whole fucking production. And it's over the top, but I thought that was a very like intimate moment, genuinely, where she's like feeling him and she's like, hey, like, I see you. Like, to be seen is to be loved, man.
Yeah.
And she's like, I see you beneath that mask.
There are definitely a few genuine, like, real moments between them in the course of this chapter. It's just surrounded by so much else, like To me, it's just funny. Like, I know people probably
Sure.
read this and are like, "Oh, so hot." But to
I
me,
mean,
it just comes across like you, obviously.
Hello, me.
Yeah, raise
Yes,
the
hello,
hand.
hi.
To me, I honestly find it kind of hilarious. And we could talk about this and go through all these lines. There's this amazing one about how, hold on. As I writhed along that impressive length, she's talking about his boner, of course. Where's
Just as I shifted against the hardness pushing into me, insistent and dominating, precisely as his hand slid a
Yep,
bit
this is the
too
one I was
high on
looking
my
for.
inner thigh. I felt the
Yep.
predatory focus go right into the
Yeah,
slickness.
that's the thank you.
He'd felt there.
That was exactly the one I was looking for. Thank you. Yeah.
Proof of my traitorous body.
Proof of my
His-
traitorous body is a great
His
line.
arms tightened around me and my face burned, perhaps a bit from shame, but resensed my focus, my fire slip. It's fine, he said. But that mental voice sounded breathless. Ooh, he's out of breath.
Oh, yeah, he is.
In his mind, he's out of breath.
He's jacking off in his mind.
Dude,
He's
that-
doing a one-hander stander-upper.
One-hander
in his mind
stander-upper,
palace.
angry J.O., dude.
He
Same,
can-
though, honestly.
He can bring himself to completion in his mind palace alone, brother. He found completion and it was in his mind. This is kind of sort of real and interesting. She has a bit of a moment of clarity. The taste
That
of him
post-nut clarity.
A little bit of a post-nut clarity. The taste of him threatened to destroy me, consume me, and another male. I'd had another male's hands all over me when Tamlin and I were barely... So...
What does that even mean?
It
We're so
means-
far past that.
Well, she's not. That's the whole point. Her ass is not far past that. You would think she would be, but listen, she's not. Which, hey, fair enough. Okay, we have to move forward. Like I said, we could spend forever on this.
Yeah,
chapter.
no, you're right.
Feyre is going to do something with Cashin, steal the truth orb or something. I don't know. When Kier whispers, "You'll get what's coming to you, whore." Rhys proceeds to shatter just about every bone in both of his arms. Forces Kier to apologize. After he does, he's like, "Hey, should I kill him?" Playing to the crowd, doing a whole thumbs up, thumbs down emperor thing. Rhys tells him he's not allowed to see a healer, and he'll kill him if he does after he shatters every bone in both of his arms. I don't know if there was he didn't really put a time limit on that. Is that just like forever or
yeah, dude.
after a month you can see a healer? I don't know. And then Feyre is thinking about how she's honestly like kind of just more appreciative that she's feeling things. My focus on the High Lord, whose hands and mouth and body had suddenly made me feel awake, burning. It didn't make me forget, didn't make me obliterate hurts or grievances. It just made me alive. He had just shattered through it and shaken me to consciousness. And now I don't know where that put me. Knee deep in trouble seemed like a good place to start. So Feyre is down bad, I think, is the phrasing I would like to use here.
She felt that wingspan.
She felt
and
that
she's
wingspan.
like,
It was an
dude.
impressive length, I hear.
She's like, yo, I could date this guy.
I could fix him.
I could fix.
She is
Honestly,
literally
though, dude.
thinking I can fix him.
I could fix him. Honestly, I mean, hey, I'd say the same.
Okay. Zach, do you want to say anything more about this chapter before I go in? And I'll try and keep this brief. We're going so long today.
Before you go in on the chapter?
Yeah. Or my feelings towards
Okay,
a couple
yeah,
things.
so I do. And you're probably going to tear up a lot of this, but like, I think
of
that
course.
one of the things that I enjoyed is like, we keep hearing of this image that he has to like uphold.
Uh-huh.
And finally we get to actually see it, like what it actually looks like. And like he didn't do anything that like inherently showed off like his actual physical power, but he displayed like the power that he has over people.
Sure.
So I felt like it was finally like
he did show his physical power.
Well, no, I know, but like, is him breaking this dude's arms really like him flexing him being the most powerful High Lord? No,
yes,
it's not.
Is it not?
No, I think this is just him like torturing a guy who's beneath him. Like,
okay.
I guess what I'm saying is that like, this is, in my opinion, this is finally like, this is the first time that we see people who he actually has power over, like him interacting with them and like seeing the image that he is like kind of created for himself.
Sure.
And although I don't love that about his character, I like that we are finally experiencing that and like can actually equate it to like, okay, so he literally just like walks around like a peacock and like flaunts around.
I mean, we saw a little bit of it when he was under Amarantha, like under the mountain.
A little, but like,
I mean, it was different, obviously, because he was.
It was very. I mean, to me, it was different. I think that's what's like. Aside from this chapter being just like hot and being like, "Yo, okay, like I need these two to fuck."
Yeah.
I enjoyed that about just like seeing the other side of the character. Do I like that part of his character? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, do I prefer the other side of his character? Yes. But I mean, it is still, at the end of the day, it is still character building. And I enjoyed it.
So, okay. The first thing I took note of here, and I think I brought this up last week as well, but there's a lot of, we don't like what we're doing and recognize that it's bad, but we'll still do it because we need to with these fuckers. And my question to you is, do you think that there will come a reckoning with that at some point? Or is that just the way this world and this story is?
I'm sorry, maybe I don't understand your
so
question.
Like the whole,
will there be a reckoning
the greater
with what?
good thing? The whole Rhys being like, he apologized for this to me in advance, and it's not probably great that we're doing this, but it has to be done.
Well, they're better. I mean, like, okay, so where we're at right now in the story, I'm okay with it being left ambiguous or like open-ended, right? The potential for some type of outlash or whatever the fuck. Right. If there's not reconciliation on that, I think it would be a huge misstep in Sarah J. Maas's like storytelling. Because like obviously we have this overarching like story that needs to be told with the King of Hybern, KOH, and Jurian and yada yada yada. But like the inner politics and like inner like mingling, like what we got in the last batch of chapters with Grand Moff Tarquin,
is way more interesting than
is so much more rich
stuff.
Yes, it's so much more rich because we actually know him as a character and care about him as a character, and we need some resolve there. So that needs to happen. And where I'm at right now, I'm in the moment and enjoying what I'm having in the moment. But if that doesn't resolve, I'll be very upset in the long run.
Yes.
Like,
okay. So that's okay. Then we are, I feel like, mostly on the same page, because I don't know why, but I just keep, and I could be 100% wrong, and I'll apologize and take back everything I say if that is the case. But I just get this feeling that I don't know if she's gonna have that reckoning with Rhys specifically. Because like there is so little thought or discussion about why is it okay that he acts this way, even as an act. Why is Morrigan's dad, who has done horrible things to her and seems to
still
be
alive,
just a horrible person, A, still alive, be in an important position of prominence and just allowed to continue being and doing horrible things, I'm sure, he's no better than Amarantha. He's the same. And just because it's an act, it's okay. You see
I think
what I'm
it's
saying?
just because he's consolidated this act to like just
That's
like look, I don't think it's inherently good. Let me please preface that.
Sure.
But I think if I was to put myself into his character's
Sure.
mind, he is inflicting these, I don't know, I guess just like this ruling over these people to what he views as his enemies.
Sure.
Which is, again, it's not right.
Right.
I wish that we got more. So this is a good conversation, Scott. I'm glad you're bringing this up because like we've not actually talked specifically about this. It's almost like when you only look at it in big picture, it's like, oh, Rhys is good.
Right.
He made these hard decisions.
Right.
You know, it's really fucked up, but it's because he cares about his people. And like, I tend to be an extremely big picture thinker, right? Which is why I get very caught up in that. But like at the end of the day, like he is still severely mistreating people in his nightmare court.
That's
like,
what
severely.
That's what I was going to say, because I think you said that earlier too about his people. I'm like, well, some of his people. The people.
Yeah.
And listen, I find it very hard to believe, but if you want to tell me that in Sarah J. Maas's lore, 100% of the people that live in the Hewn City are absolutely miserable pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Like that's a tough pill to swallow.
Like, are there not just civilians there?
Right.
Are there not just like
servants or
yes, like it's not okay. So I think that I do think that there should be some type of challenge to Rhys in that aspect of like somebody not being okay with that or like challenging him to change or invite them to Valaris or whatever, right? Like, right. I mean, I don't know what the exact fix is, but I do think that there needs to be some character turmoil. Like, I think Rhys needs to like mentally and emotionally deal with that and address that.
I agree, because I feel like he talks a big game. Like he talked about how Tarquin has the same dream that he did about, you know, making people more equals or making Feyre more equals and, you know, stopping these atrocities. Right. And then on the other hand, he's at the, like, in the nicest terms, complacent in what is taking place in the Nightmare City here. At the worst, he's enabling, you know, and like letting it continue and enabling it to continue.
Sure.
And listen, you kind of briefly touched on this, but I am not a therapist and I cannot even begin to relate or, you know, understand the things that Rhys went through when he was under Amarantha's thumb and how that would mess a person up. What I can talk to is storytelling and generally how that goes.
Sure. Yeah.
And all I'm saying is I have just not gotten a sense of a reckoning for this side of him specifically.
Yeah.
And again, I could be way off base. Yeah. But I just have gotten no vibes of a reckoning is coming for this aspect of him. And I feel like if it doesn't, what the hell are we doing? What is this story then at that point?
Well, I think like if we don't, which I mean, it's possible we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
No,
here, right?
100%.
Because we're
like I said, I could totally eat my words.
Sure. But I mean, it's still a good conversation to have because like a lot of what I see on social media and like from friends who like this series, obviously avoiding spoilers and whatnot.
Right.
People just love Rhys.
Right.
Like it's just this like, I mean, and I am victim to that, by the way. Like, I think Rhys is hot.
Oh, no way, really?
He has great quips. Like, you know, like, it's just so easy to be like, yo, that's my fucking guy. because that's the way that the story's told.
Right.
But if we're talking about real people here, like it is a little fucked up. And I think that like there's almost a respect that needs to be given to like the characters themselves to like have them address these issues.
Right.
And work through them. Because if it doesn't, it's almost like we're just telling this like make-believe story of good and bad.
Right.
You know, yeah, it's almost
where
just
it's
too
all
easy.
bad.
Yeah, it's almost too easy to just be like, oh, those are the bad guys, so he can treat them like shit.
Right.
It's like that.
Right.
That's children's storytelling.
Yes. No. That's yeah. No, 100%. And that's just like I said. The only acknowledgement I feel like I've gotten from these characters is a lot of, it's not great that we're doing this, but it's got to be done. Ends justify the means, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that just like, I hope and pray that there's a reckoning for that coming. I don't feel like I've gotten the story beats, the breadcrumbs, if you will, the narrative breadcrumbs that she's building to that. And again, I could be way off.
So do you need that to happen in this book or just in this story?
I guess just in the story, but
because I mean, it could still come back.
It's making me uncomfortable right now. So
okay.
That's why I bring it up.
I am just trying to get comfortable on Rhys's lap, so I need you to.
Rhys, and I'm just like,
I need you to calm down.
Dude's super not okay.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, but I still want him to fuck me.
He needs professional help, legitimately.
As do I, buddy.
Yes, you definitely do. You definitely do. Okay. That's all I'll say about that for now. We can get into more of that. I would love to talk with, like, maybe when we're done with this book, we need to talk to Emily again, or Sam and Emily, or whoever can make it. And I would love to hear their take on this, if I'm alone in this, or if, again, maybe next week, next chapters, the reckoning will come and I'll be like, yeah, I'm a big dumb idiot. What do you expect? What do you want from me? Okay. Anything more before we finish this up? Chapter 43.
Just chapter 43.
Yeah.
It's a relatively quick one.
Yeah.
Couple of like conversations that we need to talk about, but let's
knock it out.
So in true Sarah J. Maas fashion, we jump back to Valaris. They're back at Valaris. They're back at home base.
They go to someplace random first.
Well, okay. Well, they leave the hewn city.
Yes.
It's just teleport to a different location.
Hey, did you get that truth orb, by the way? Yeah, we got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool. We didn't get to see the heist or anything, but that's cool. So yeah, Rhys takes Feyre off to like some little like mountain space to talk, basically to say like, hey, I'm sorry that like this was even a thing that we had to do.
Right.
And Feyre's like, listen, dude, like I knew what I was signing up for. We agreed upon this. Like it's okay. But Rhys starts to get a little upset because like it's impossible for her to not compare Rhys to Tamlin, and like that is a normal, it may not be the most emotionally mature thing to do outwardly to your partner, but it's impossible to not make that comparison, right?
Well, she also is like, hey, I knew what I signed up for. You don't have to protect me like that.
Right. Yes. No, you're right. Yes, she did say that.
Which obviously makes him think of one person and one person only.
Right. And it really strikes a chord with him, which I think is also
a little telling.
It's also just a little immature, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously nobody in any like romance, like you don't want to be compared to your partner's ex.
No, definitely not.
But also
especially
like
one that was a piece of shit.
Well, sure. But also like she's saying, hey, I simply don't want that. She's not saying, hey, you are that.
Right. No, definitely.
She's saying, hey, this is an issue that I have experienced before, and I just want to communicate that like I am afraid of that.
Yes, I feel like Feyre is being very upfront and mature with him about it.
Yes, and he
kind of flies off the handle.
He does fly off the handle. Yes, I did not like Rhys in this moment.
No.
I did not. Like,
I love Feyre though, especially towards the end when she's like straight up calling him on
yeah.
bullshit. But yeah, we'll get to that.
So stop comparing me to him. The words cut me short. You think I don't know how stories get written, how this story will be written? Rhys put his hands on his chest, his face more open, more anguish than I'd seen it. I am the Dark Lord who stole away the Bride of Spring. I'm a demon and a nightmare, and I will meet a bad, and he's the Golden Prince, the hero who will get to keep you as his reward for not dying of stupidity and arrogance. And I highlighted this specifically, Scott, because I thought this was like just telling a different story than what the one we're reading.
Sure.
Like where is this thought process coming from?
Well, my thought process is, hey, if you're worried about this and concerned about this being the case, maybe you shouldn't actively cultivate the reputation as a Dark Lord, my guy. Maybe
that's very true. That may be a little meta,
yeah,
but yes, that's very true.
It's like, I think I said earlier, the one time he's shown self-awareness in these chapters, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, maybe you shouldn't actively pursue this Dark Lord persona if you don't want that how your story to go down, my guy.
Yeah. But and so this is where I really like Feyre's challenge to this, because he's so like he I'm
I
not
like
saying
Feyre the most in this chapter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, I would just want to preface that, like, I don't think that Rhys's feelings are invalid here. I just think that he's really managing them incorrectly towards Feyre, who genuinely cares.
All the wrong ways.
So she thinks something that she's heard him say before. The things I love have it. This is right after he says that, by the way, that Tamlin is the hero and yada yada yada, right? And she thinks about how he has said this. The things I love have a tendency to be taken from me.
Mm-hmm.
He'd admitted that to me under the mountain. But his words were kindling to my temper, to whatever pit of fear was yawning open inside of me. And what about my story, I hissed. What about my reward? What about what I want?
Hell yeah, Feyre.
And he says, what is it that you want? And she says, I had no answer. I didn't know, not anymore. What is it that you want, Feyre? This is just a scene from the Notebook, by the way. What do you want? I stayed silent. His laugh was bitter, soft. I thought so. Perhaps you should take some time to figure that out one of these days. Not unfair, right?
No.
I mean, like, this is a guy that's seeking out validation, and she's saying that she doesn't know what she wants.
Right.
So that's fair. Hey, you need to figure out what you want. But she does hit back with, perhaps I don't know what I want, but at least I don't hide what I am behind a mask. At least I let them see who I am, broken bits and all. Yes, it's to save your people, but what about the other masks, Rhys? What about letting your friends see your real face? But maybe it's easier not to. Because what if you did let someone in, and what if they saw everything and still walked away? Who could blame them?
Ooh.
Who would want to bother with that sort of mess?
Jesus Christ.
He
Feyre.
flinched. The most powerful High Lord in history flinched, and I knew I'd hit hard and deep. And she realizes that it's like, I may have gone a
little too nuclear on his ass.
And he just says, let's go home. Yeah, man.
Maybe I was all up in my feels about the previous chapter, and I didn't recognize that this is the start of the reckoning for that. Maybe.
I think it is a little bit.
Because she specifically says, perhaps I don't hide what I am behind a mask. At least I let them see who I am, broken bits at all. Yes, it's to save your people, but what about your friends? So maybe that is exactly what I've been wanting, is some kind of acknowledgement that his Dark Lord persona is just not okay, regardless of
Yeah.
whether or not it's a persona.
I mean, I hope that that's where this is going, because like truly it could go a couple ways. Like it could go to him just like not outwardly sharing with her his feelings or being comfortable with himself or confident in himself, like to be deserving of her love.
Mhm.
Like that
Sure.
could be what she's talking about. Or it could be what you're saying, like, hey dude, like in order for like you to be okay in this world, like you
Yeah.
gotta not have this split personality thing.
Yeah.
Like just let's get to a place where everybody can be treated the way that you treat them in Valaris.
Yes,
you know?
especially to be a person in a position of extreme power and like the leader of this resistance against the KOH. It's like,
Yeah.
why would people follow you?
Why would anybody flock to you? Dude?
Right. I don't understand his thought process sometimes, like how he thinks that's going to work.
So, yeah.
And maybe that is the start of this. And I was just so kind of like, when I was reading the previous chapter, like, what are we doing? That I failed to recognize this in the moment. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is the start. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, like Feyre, I appreciate her not backing down.
Yes.
I appreciate her kind of realizing and being sorry that maybe she went a little too hard in the moment,
Yes.
but also kind of maybe it's what he needs to hear. I don't know. Again, I'm not Rhys's therapist, but
Sure.
maybe it's something he needed to hear. And I appreciate that she extends the olive branch. This is, I think, later in the chapter, several times. She texts him,
Mm-hmm.
and tries to like play it cool. She tries to like be kind of neutral. And then the third time, she's like, hey, fuck you. You're a coward. If this is how
fucking
you treat...
talk to me, dude.
Right.
Stop being a fucking baby.
Right, exactly. Like, is this
Yes.
really what you do to anyone in your inner circle who makes one mistake? Like, come on. Come the fuck on. Don't be a coward.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing. I think Feyre in this chapter is great.
I agree.
And I think she, again, probably went a little hard. Maybe it's what he needed to hear. But I appreciate that she, sticks to her guns, but is also willing to, extend the olive branch to apologize. But also not back down on what she said.
Yeah, absolutely. She's not saying, hey, I was wrong.
Right, exactly.
She's saying, hey, I maybe should not have come at you.
Perhaps
in that
I
way.
was too harsh on you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think really the last call out I wanted to have here is I do really like this is toward a little closer to the end of the chapter here, but I do really like we've seen this several times between the inner circle, but just the loyalty that Amren has with Rhys. Let's see. She says, but Amren said, when Rhys came back after Amarantha, he was a ghost. He pretended he wasn't, but he was. You made him come alive again. They talk a little more, and Feyre says, he's lucky to have all of you. And Amren responds with no. More gently than I have ever heard her speak. We are lucky to have him, Feyre. I know I have known many high lords, cruel ones, cunning ones, weak ones, powerful ones, but never ones that dreamed, not as he does. Dreams of what? I breathed. Of peace, of freedom, of a world united, a world thriving, of something better for all of us. And I do like, that's the version of Rhys that I really like.
Yeah.
And I think it would be slightly less interesting if he wasn't flawed in some of the ways that you and I are talking about. It's just, we need to, like, some of that stuff needs to be resolved and actually
definitely
addressed, I think, before it's like, yo, Rhys is a fucking badass,
Yes.
So I like that. I like that interaction with Amren quite a bit. But that's pretty much it. The chapter ends with,
there's this mention of Starfall. They're going to have this big festival.
Right. Yes.
And then they're going to be leaving after that. I did think it was interesting that Feyre asked if we will come back here once we leave. Amren says, not for a while. And Feyre's like, shit. To someone that's been alive as long as Amren is, to say that, I'm terrified.
Could be a while.
At how long that might be. Couple other quick things I wanted to point out from Feyre here.
Mm-hmm.
She's thinking, this is mostly her inner monologue, her thinking to herself. I knew he and Tamlin were different, knew that Rhysand's protective anger tonight had been justified, that I would have had a similar reaction. I'd been bloodthirsty at the barest details of Mor's suffering, had wanted to punish them for it. Which again is like, why isn't Morgan's dad being punished for that?
Yeah.
Is another thing. Anyway. Maybe Rhys needed to flirt with me, taunt with me as much as for a distraction and sense of normalcy as I did. Maybe I'd said what I had to him because I'd realized that I might very well be the person who wouldn't let anyone in. So yeah, she's again regretting the way things went down, if not that they actually did go down.
Yeah.
I think
Mature, I think.
Yes. And she also thinks back of how she was jealous of Cress. And yeah, there's
right. And she thinks that she actually kind of tells herself, like, hey, I'm willing to commit to the idea of trying this.
That's what I was trying to find here.
Like, I've healed, or I'm in the process of healing enough so that I can, like, she makes that decision. I love that for her, dude.
She says, here, I found it. So maybe it was time to tell Rhys that, to explain that I didn't want to pretend. I didn't want to write it off as a joke or a plan or a distraction. And it'd be hard, and I was scared it might be difficult to deal with, but I was willing to try with him. To try to be something together, whether it was purely sex or more something between or beyond, I didn't know. We'd find out. I was healed or healing enough to want to try.
Ugh.
If he was willing to try too, if he didn't walk away when I voiced what I wanted him. And yes, that was another huge moment I had to call out here from Feyre, because again, she is recognizing that she is healing and that she's at a point where she wants
more.
And she wants to tell him that. But he's being
it's
a little
so good.
bitch baby boy.
I'm so glad that you called that out. Yeah, it's such a good moment for her. It, like, honestly, it makes me like want there to be a Rhys. Well, you may not like this, but like a Rhys POV, whether it's a full book or just like a short novella, or I mean, fuck, dude, even like a fanfic. Like, I need to see. I have really appreciated Feyre working through her trauma and like growing in the way that she has. You and I talk about this almost every episode. And I just think we are so deprived of that same type of growth and movement on the needle for some of these characters. Well, like with Rhys especially.
Yeah, I agree.
And it could help, I think, some of our hesitations and qualms with his character. If we were able to see some of like that inner dialogue and him grappling with thoughts and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So
no, 100%.
Oh man, I would truly love and appreciate that so much.
Yep. She said, like I said, I alluded to this earlier, but she sends him the several different texts. Cassian says, you're sulking in the house of high wind. What on a high lord-like behavior? What of my training? She's kind of trying to, play it light. My guilt and whatever else it was started to shift. I could barely keep from shredding the papers. I wrote my third one after lunch. Is this punishment, or do people in your inner circle not get second chances if they piss you off? You're a hateful coward. And this time, she sees the letter vanish, waits for a response, but nothing. Comes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like your boy's stock is it's falling in my eyes, maybe in Feyre's eyes as well, or I don't know with her. It was growing. He was growing hard, and she's like, maybe I'm ready to try something with you. And now you're a hateful coward.
He's a grower, not a shower. So.
I think he's both, probably.
He's probably both.
He's probably both.
He's written by a woman.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
We talked a lot. Holy shit, that went on way longer than I expected it to. Are you ready?
We hope that you guys enjoyed the
Yeah.
deep dive here. Let's
Jesus Christ.
do Who Be Courtin.
Let's be Hubie Corton. I don't know that there are 5 characters in this section that I would feel comfortable putting on this list, Zach. But
Okay,
before
well,
we
number
get to
1 is
that,
Morrigan.
Where we last left off, Tarquin was first place, Feyre was second place, Rhys was third place, Amren was fourth place, and that cheeky book was fifth place. By the way, I did see on the edit and when I was watching it, I did somehow like flip this backwards, upwards, upside down. I don't know how I did that for the life of me, but the cheeky book will forever be backwards, probably. All right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you see where it says the cheeky book here? It's like upside down or mirrored or something. The letters. See how the Y is upside down?
Oh, weird.
Most of these, yeah, it's weird. Most of these letters are like the same, whether they're upside down or not.
Weird.
See, the
okay.
T, the is also upside down.
Interesting. All right.
It just looks like kind of normal because C, H, E, E, they're all the same if they're upside down or right side up. K, O's, B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Interesting.
That's a whole thing.
That's a thing. All right. Number 1 for me is Morrigan Dispatch.
I'm pretty okay with that.
Morrigan was just so good. I adore her. I adore her interactions with pretty much everybody. Her stepping to the queens was fantastic. Getting a little bit more of her backstory was fantastic.
I'm sure there's more to it. I am just so not okay with her family being around after what they've done to her, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just living and thriving. Like,
yeah, I mean, really, the only answer I have is that, like,
we don't know the full story.
Well, I mean, there's that, but also, like, Rhys is playing up the idea that he's a bad guy, so he's keeping other bad people around under his control.
Yeah,
like, do I think that that's the most sound logic? No, but you know, that's likely what it is.
I like
no.
that you said that. No.
Personally,
Feyre too.
Feyre 2, Amren 3rd.
Amren, I was gonna say Amren has to go either 2 or 3, but I think Feyre edges her out.
Yeah.
Just say
this
it.
This
You
is
can
where it
say
gets
it
difficult.
if you want to. I don't think you should make
hard.
the list, but I don't know who else. Asriel. There was barely any Nesta. There was barely any Elaine.
Elaine says, "I hope they all burn in hell." Maybe.
Which again, I kind of thought was a little harsh, Elaine.
It was a little strange.
Nesta had like 2 lines, but they were pretty good. Didn't she call them cowards? The queen's cowards.
She does call them cowards.
The queens. Do we want to just like throw them on there as a conglomerate?
I mean, they certainly were interesting.
They were.
I could see them being a 5.
Okay. Those cheeky queens.
Cheeky queens.
How long
That's
can
funny.
we keep this running joke going? How often could there be? See, now it's very obvious that it's upside down, but
Yeah,
I'm
you need
not
to figure
even going
that
to
out.
pretend to know how to fix that. The cheeky queens. Who's 4th then?
I mean, I feel like it has to be Rhys.
Because he's the only other character around. But you're probably right.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get enough of Asriel or
Miriam?
Cassian.
She sounds cool. Prince Dracon.
Yeah, but no, I don't think. I mean, we didn't get any actual interaction with them.
Yeah, I mean, you're
no,
right.
I think it's got to be
hearsay.
Rhys.
All right. Okay, can we put him at 5 then, just to make me feel better? And that way he'd be because it's funnier if the cheeky queens are upside down. If there's anything I am an absolute have to have happened is the funniest thing, and that's the funniest thing. Whether I feel it's right or not, it's funny, so I have to abide by it.
No, I think
All
that
right.
this is probably solid. Like, and in the eyes of most people, it's also probably right. Maybe not. I don't
Yeah,
know.
fuck them. all the fans of this price so mad at me right now. It's just he doesn't know what he's talking about the research. I probably don't. Fair enough. All right. That is who be courting for this week. Morrigan first place, Feyre second place, Amryn third place, Rhys fourth place, and those cheeky queens in the 5 spot. We really need an introduction of more cheeky characters for next week that can stay in that.
Yeah,
5 spot.
I would agree with that. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching, doing the goddamn thing. If you are just now finding us for the first time, first of all, thank you for sitting through however fucking long this goddamn episode is. Do the thing, subscribe, follow us on whatever podcast listening app or YouTube that you are using. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Mythkeepers. You can support us on our Patreon at patreon.com/Mythkeepers. And you can also find some sweet-ass merch over on mythkeeperspod.com. We would appreciate that. Thank you guys again. We will be back next week with another, I don't recall how many chapters.
I think it's a longer batch this time, if memory serves.
I do think you're right.
I don't know if they're shorter or
it
what.
is, I have it right here. It is chapters 44 through 51 for next batch. So we will see you guys next week with more to talk about. Hopefully it's not a 3-hour episode.
Look at that ass.
Bye-bye.